YouTube isn't giving me the link for some
I've
reason.
pushed the button.
Okay, hi.
It's on
I
the
got it. No, no, I got
dashboard,
it. No, I
right?
know, but it just wasn't there.
Oh,
Like temporarily, it was
that's
like, no, 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 no. That's
that's
not for
weird.
you. Yeah. But now we're live. Hi.
Hi,
Oh
Hey.
my god.
welcome.
Hi.
Hey. We still have a few minutes. I'm going to tweet about this.
Good plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna retweet the tweet.
Yeah, I went to
Okay,
Twitter
yeah.
as you were saying that. Like, I gotta retweet of things. So
There we
everything's running on
go.
you, Allie.
Okay. Okay. Someone said our voices sounded weird, but then they were like at regular speed, which.
Mm.
Uh huh.
We actually record at half speed, and Ali doubles our speed in post production.
Mhm. 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 It's
Isn't
true.
there some reason to do that? I feel like I heard something, some in some context of like, oh, it makes the something better or something.
Maybe you're
Wait.
thinking of David Lynch.
It might be.
I know people like edit listening to stuff really fast because editing takes forever.
I might
And if
also be
you're
thinking of that thing where some people sing lying down.
Some people sing lying down.
Yeah, like there's some
what?
at least one famous person whose name I don't remember, but I swear this is true, recorded an album on their back
Oh my
Why?
god.
because it like opens up your voice parts. I don't fucking know. I don't sing.
I
No,
record the
that
clarinet
can't be
Yeah.
sitting down,
true.
and I want to be as real as I can to any people who are learning the clarinet and saying, "Do not follow my good example. The clarinet is designed to be played standing up, and you'll mess up your recording."
Okay, I found.
Oh,
Hang on, I have to find in here. Lay down. Okay, no, that's lay down their
mm.
albums. That's actually not what I meant. I thought this was gonna be a list of like, here's people who laid down when they recorded. But instead, when I got to this website, it said, here are the wackiest places people have chosen to lay down their albums, and that's not.
Wait a minute. What?
That's like record. They just meant like record.
Oh, what?
Apparently, John
Also, I
Lennon.
don't.
Oh, go on.
Okay, go on. I was just gonna say that I don't believe that there's enough people who are lying down while recording things that there's gonna be a whole list of people.
Mm. Apparently, John Lennon recorded Revolution lying on his back.
Oh.
Also, chat, how are our levels? Like, I think we're okay at least to go with, but I can make people louder or quieter depending. Um,
Hmm.
depending on how you feel. Also, I have a cough, and I'm really sorry. I didn't realize that it was
Oh.
going to be a problem until I started speaking. Mm, but, we
You can't
She'll
shall.
find
be
anything
okay.
about this because everyone's just talking about laying down tracks, and that's not what I want.
What about on
I
the
want a
floor?
laying down track, not laying down tracks.
Singing while resting. No, that's not.
Singing while sleeping.
God.
Yeah, I don't know. I believe it. I'm sure it works for somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of things work for people. That doesn't. It's fine.
This is true.
Who
Before
are
we
we? Sorry, before we.
before we start, can you guys make sure that you can interact with these dice?
Oh, yeah, good call. Let's see.
Oh yeah,
Ten
that
of
Because you
was.
diamonds.
should be
I know
able
how to fix
to.
that now.
I'm
If
making
it's
this white dice
Okay.
creep into this black pile.
I'm seeing that. Okay, okay, we're good.
okay, yeah, this
You have to
works.
double click them and then like choose who has access
Yeah,
over it. It's
I this was a problem for me during our live fiasco game because I just assumed like, oh, it's if it's on the token layer, then players can interact with it.
that's
No, no,
also what I
no,
assumed.
no. And you can't right click because that's a different menu. It's you have to like I don't understand
Interesting.
why it wouldn't be in the right click menu that pops up to set those things. But no, you have to double click it. It's fine. Good tool.
I like Roll20, but it just feels like Roll20 isn't built for what we use it for, but it literally is. So,
Yeah.
Well,
who knows?
I like that I can do this, and I can make all these dice sixes if I want. I could just go choose side. It's great. That one's already a
That's
six.
because technically the thing about these dice is that technically they are built using a system that's meant to like rotate goblins and stuff on a board. um, like it's
Mm.
all the faces are pictures, and when you look at a tutorial of how to use the system, it's like, yeah, so for one you can have like a strong goblin, and for two you can have like an archer goblin, and that way you just have to lay the token down and you can pick
God,
what kind of goblin it is.
we don't put enough goblins on the screen in Roll20,
Mm-mm.
I feel.
Yeah, not a big
Allie,
enough variety
do you have
too.
goblin
Huh?
privilege right now?
I do have goblin privilege right now. I am the game master of tonight's session. Hello and welcome to Live at the Table. Um, this is also an actual play podcast focused on critical world building, smart characterization, and fun interaction between good friends. Tonight we're playing Shooting the Moon, and joining me is Janine Hawkins
Hey, you can find me at Bleating Heart on Twitter.
and Jack DeKeat.
Hi, you can. I'm ill. You can find me
Oh,
on Twitter at NotQuiteReal and buy any of the music featured on the show at notquitereal.bandcamp.com.
perfect. So we're here tonight playing a tabletop game. Um, Tonight we're playing Shooting the Moon by this person's name is at the top of this PDF. We're playing Shooting the Moon by Emily Care Boss. This is the second in a book of three different games that are focused on like romance stories. And it's a pretty neat book, all things considered. The first one is like two players play two people going on dates and then you roll dice to see how much they like each other, and then at the end of the game you're like, oh, did they are they in a relationship now? There's this one which we're about to play, and then there's also like the last one is like a group of friends, and two of them are in a relationship and then they start hooking up with somebody else and it's like a whole LARP thing and it seems really intense. So that's an option.
Oh, damn.
Uh, but tonight we're playing Shooting the Moon. And I'm just going to read what it says at the top here. In Shooting the Moon, love brings together three characters and puts them through the ringer. Two suitors compete for the affection of a shared beloved who has overwhelming odds of their own to face. United and divided by their shared fears and entwined destinies, these characters discover what they're made out of and what they will do for love. So, I'm just going to continue. The beloved is a person of power and a paragon of the world that the characters inhabit. The traits give you this character to reflect and determine what is sought after and desirable in the setting. The beloved is drawn to the suitors and accepts their advances. The suitors are movers and shakers and are and are moved and shaken in this world. They have strengths like the beloved, but they are flawed and clay-footed, as well as heroic and enticing. So that's just kind of the main setup here. Do y'all have any questions before we go into this? Because we can just jump into like figuring out a setting and figuring out a
Um,
bunch of words.
this game, when I was reading through it, seemed really fiddly, and then the more I read, the kind of less fiddly it seemed.
Yeah,
Um,
the presentation is fiddly, but the game itself seems kind of in line with what we normally do.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of like dice pools, which I don't feel like we
every time
use.
someone says roll a pool of dice, I'm like, oh god, what are you gonna make me do with them? And this game is just like, which are the highest numbers? And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, that wasn't so bad actually. I feel okay. Um, but I don't like roll, and that's why we can see these pools in the side, right, Ali? Which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just
there's
you
mechanics
rolling a
all over
bunch.
the screen.
Yeah. Oh god, do you want to give viewers a little tour of the screen that they're going to be staring at for the next 3 hours?
Sure. You have the camera focus,
Yeah,
so
I'll be your camera person.
okay, so the basic setup of this game is there's three players, there's the three of us. Two of us play suitors and one play the beloved. Um, we figure out attributes for these characters, we figure out the setting, we figure out what their prize is and what the beloved's like, you know, aspirations are. Then we then we go through three different phases of three turns, three phases, one turn per player, so three turns, three and three. But basically, what happens is one suitor will be in a scene with the beloved, trying to be impressive or help them out or whatever else. And then the odd man out will be the hurdle and will introduce a like problem in the scene. And then the person who introduces the hurdle gets to roll 5 dice, and then the other two have to like figure out what their response is going to be, and from their response they figure out how much dice they can roll and if they like win the situation essentially. uh so we have all three we have all three character sheets here with a lot of space for a lot of different words. And then we just have the rules in terms of like, okay, if you're the hurdle, you get 5 dice. And then if you're one of the suitors, you get 2 dice if you use your first trait. And then you get 2 dice if you suggest an action for another character. And you get 1 dice if you use your trait again, essentially. So in your like, in the like defense turn, you can get up to 6 dice, is basically the thing. But that's kind of jumping ahead. We can get to that. um, for now, let's just start easy and figure out what we want the setting to be, which can be literally anything. Um, the book suggests things like a bunch of pirates, a bunch of people working in a law firm. There's a list here where you can either be super spies or in a witch war or a college gaming group. So the world is really our oyster here.
Which was
Do you want
pretty
to like?
good.
Mm, I was say, do we want to like each put forward an idea and then see
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
what we
yeah.
feel strongest about?
I can start unless y'all want to.
Go for it.
Okay, because the only like suggestion that I had was that like trying to stick to something that's like kind of contained within like environment or time. I'm playing Mystic Messenger right now, which is very simple. It is you enter a chat room and then get to date the people in the chat room because there's a party in 7 days, which is a very very simple confines to be in. Whereas like we could do something like we're on like a conference and we're all professionals in this place, or like it's a holiday market and we're all running a stand, or like something like that. Um, but as far as like if this wants to be in space or a modern setting or anything else, we can do whatever.
What about a cruise ship?
It's not bad.
Is
My
this a
my I was
Mm,
gonna say okay. So my pitch is an old timey toy maker shop, which is,
ooh.
Ooh.
those are some wildly divergent things. I'm interested in either one. They're in sharp opposition, I think.
Welcome to the 1938 Toymakers Cruise. Thanks for boarding here in Dover. Um, well, I'd also been thinking about like I really love the sort of aesthetic that's going on in Howl's Moving Castle. Um, in
Hmm.
terms of just like establishing a space quickly, and that has a real sort of toy maker, old timey toy maker shop vibe. Or were you
I
thinking
mean, that
more?
does start with a haberdasher, and she's like a hat making apprentice.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
but it would be toy hats.
Well, I mean, we could have a situation where like the toy maker is the beloved and the suitor are the apprentices or something who are trying to like
Okay.
figure out the next it toy or something like that.
rival toy makers. There's a street that just has 3 toy shops on it for some reason.
Is
Um,
it three toy shops, or do we all work at the same store? And it's like we're employees in this place. The beloved is the boss, I guess.
there's some like power dynamic stuff there that is like if we're apprentices, it's kind of like toy maker students.
That's
Um,
true.
uh,
We could be aspiring toy makers who are not yet apprentices. Like the toy maker has a shop, but we're like, but the suitors in general are like making stuff by hand and selling it at the market or something maybe. But they want that like prime shop.
Oh.
and they're
They want a window to put stuff in, not just a little
yeah,
shelf on the back of a donkey.
and they're coming in and
Oh.
they're like, "Do you like this small doll that I've created, toy maker? It's a mouse."
So this game does have something like in it to make the relationship dynamics a little bit more platonic if you want to go that way. What you do is set up for the suitors as their prize, and it's the same for both. And instead of, having the prize be like a date or marriage or like whatever else, we can have the prize be like earn a window in in the toy shop's store. So like we also want to get close to this person, but it's also this like professional aspiration.
And if doing friends at the table has taught me anything, it's that trying to put stuff in a shop window and getting close to someone in that way can be very romantic.
Yeah, you
Indeed.
can have both.
Yeah.
You can have both. Why settle for one?
Sometimes you're in love with the toy maker, but also you have a really good idea for one of those like pull toys where the head nods, it's like an animal.
Oh, I mean, I'm
So
happy
Or
to
that
go
robot
with like
goose.
okay.
what year is this? Like when you say old timey, are you talking about like old timey New York, or are you talking about like old timey London, or are you talking about like we're Tudors and shit? Or are we in the
I
Alps?
think Tudor toys mostly sucked. So I'm not suck it, Tudors. I was imagining of sort of like broadly a timeline where the toys would probably still have had dangerous paint on them. But beyond that, I hadn't really specified in my head.
Oh, is this an opportunity for Ali to play Arthur Morgan again?
Would love to. Um, I could go. Yeah, I can do old timey. Do we want to do like you threw out Howl's Moving Castle? Do we want to do like vaguely magical, still fantasy ish?
I mean, why lock ourselves out of that little box of
Yeah,
Right.
tricks, right?
it's nice and
I'm just gonna.
surprising that way.
Also, magical toys, there's stuff there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to just be talking about like batteries for the rest of the night.
Old timey batteries, horses.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Let me know if the font size here is a little bad for chat. There's a lot to squish into the.
God, it's so good that we could just write down the words magic exists and that's our job.
Okay. Perfect. Is there any other like establishing stuff that we want to set up at this point? Keep in mind that as we set up the beloved stuff, that will kind of speak more to the world, and then as we set up the suitors, you can see that they also get a person, place, and thing. So we'll
Mm,
have more opportunity to kind of like
Mm.
drive down what the city is and everything else. But
I'm
do we
trying
want
to
to say like,
think.
oh, this is, the is this shop like on Main Street or is it 32nd Street?
I mean, it's December and we're doing a game about a toy shop, so it probably should be like a main street, like
Okay.
this is the toy
But there's
shop.
like snow and like
Twinkly lights,
twinkly lights and snow and like,
lots of just dangerous candles, just one of those trees with the candles on it because they didn't
oh
have
yeah.
electric lights. So it's just everyone's gonna die if you leave this in.
There's like a brass band playing. They're playing some kind of uh, Creative Commons out of copyright Christmas song. Um,
Okay. Yeah. 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 Decorations are in there. But it's not like it's not Manhattan, right? It's like
no, it's like Vienna or something, right? Or like
Yeah.
I'm gonna write smallish but still urban, which is
Maybe this
really
is
not
one
fun.
of those like weird super old buildings that kind of gets built around and it's like it like was
oh
originally
yeah.
made for the ones I mean that are like they have a narrower base because the streets had to be a certain width but then the top level is like wider and it looks like it's going to fall off at the sides.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Um man, I want to see if I can
Do you
find.
wanna just draw that in the
Yeah,
setting
go for it,
section,
Janine.
Oh shit. Okay.
If you want to just describe that and write it down, you also
I need
can.
like the right shade of brown. That's a problem.
I
Oh,
mean,
well.
the other thing that I'm thinking of, and this is definitely far too big for us, is there is a very old department store in London called Liberty, um, and I'm putting it up on the stream now, and I put it in the chat in that it's
Oh,
just like this. gigantically wide mock Tudor building that is
Oh,
just like,
wow.
imagine this decorated for Christmas and stuff, and it has like an archway and like um and the inside looks like you know looks like someone crashed a department store into the Houses of Parliament. Um, and I think this is too big for us, but also I'm into
There's specifically, there's a Sephora in Manhattan that apparently Ernest Hemingway used to write in or work in or whatever. And I'm like specifically thinking of the layout of this place, but I can't,
I knew he was a Sephora guy.
you know.
So this looks like a Victorian bird cage, but
Oh, let's see what Janine's drawn.
it's most of the way
Oh,
to what I mean.
it's a cupcake.
Uh,
It's a cupcake in a cage.
okay, I see it. So the thing that I'm thinking of is this very specific Sephora, which is gorgeous. And it's like way deeper than you would think it
Oh
is
my
from street
god.
level. And then it's also, so you see how there's like the double doors in the middle, and then there's those circle windows on the side.
Yeah.
Just that section of the store is like a second layer. So the whole like main floor is super open, but you also have like some extra, you know.
Wow.
Now this is a fucking Grand Budapest Hotel Sephora right here.
You also say, "Oh, it's actually a lot deeper than it looks." And I was already looking at this thing like, "Wow, that looks like it's bigger than some national library."
It does, you can see the depth. Um yeah, okay. I'm just gonna write Fifth Avenue Sephora. Um but I especially like the windows in this place as well.
Yeah, those round
Mhm.
windows and
Um
stuff. And there's no
okay.
like cars and stuff, right? Or is there like very old style Mr. and Mrs. Brown Paddington Bear cars?
I could go for, some steam engines,
But like lots of
you
horses
know.
and stuff.
Okay, okay, yeah. Horses more than horses more
Maybe
than
like you see a car sometimes, but it's an event when you do.
Yeah, you're like, damn, I'm gonna go to the Sephora and write about that.
what I wrote was horses more than cars slash some magical engines. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Gotta have a magical engine.
yeah, you've got to.
Mhm.
Like, what are you doing? Um, okay. Well, we definitely. I feel like we're not good, but we're this is a healthy
We're
setting
great.
at this point. I feel like we're supposed to set it up at the point, but like if if in 5 minutes someone has a good idea that you want me to write up there, I will write it up there. I don't
Yeah.
care about the rules that much. But let's jump into the attributes because this is a whole thing. And before we start it, I'm just going to give a very high level of what we're doing so we know what we're doing at the start.
Mm,
So we're about to pick 6 words that we feel describe the beloved that are also things that are just like universally attractive in this world. Um, and then from those 6 words, we're going to choose 3 of them to make a synonym and an antonym for. So let's say that the beloved is attentive. We would have like thoughtful and careless. From from there, we would assign out thoughtful to one of the suitors and careless to another suitor, because they just get assigned out like that. And then on top of that, we get to like fine tune the suitors a little bit more and add another word to that. So it would be like careless but quick on their feet, and thoughtful but stubborn or whatever, right? And
hmm
then as we go through scenes, let's say the two of you are standing outside the window and marveling over the shop and talking about like what the future window that's going to be there is going to look like. And if I'm the one who's outside of that scene, I would say, okay, you're careless, you didn't look at the weather and it's raining, so this like meeting that you set up is now ruined. What do you do?
Right.
And that's the game. So
Okay.
yeah. So let's start thinking of attributes for the beloved. The weird thing about attributes is that they can be like character traits, but they can also just be like cool things that they have.
Like best ship in here in
Uh,
this
I thought
example.
I
In the
underlined that.
setting
It's so funny.
pirates, the players choose the following attributes for the beloved: ruthless, daring, ambitious, infamous, carouser. Best ship.
it's it's very good. The other thing, just say while we're on this, is that we also at the end of the scene we gain traits and we assign them out depending on who wins the scene. It's a whole thing. But traits can also be really wide. One of the traits that the book uses is like, I met some girl in a prior scene,
It's
which
so
doesn't
funny.
seem
Wha- One of the traits is used to be turned into a frog. It's so good.
so
Also,
so yeah.
should we pick who is who at this point, or does that come next?
We can pick who is who at this point. Um, we
I
can.
think you're
Yeah, I
supposed to
think
do
the
it
book.
at the end, though, right? Like
Oh,
ideally, they want you to like form the suitor and the suitors and the beloved, and then decide.
I think you're supposed to decide at this point. I'm fine with us
Okay.
waiting until
I might be
we.
thinking of the names. I think maybe the name is the thing you're supposed to do last.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
We're not gonna have like a personal touch on these characters, but there's like a weird turn order, so they want you to choose now.
Okay.
But we can like list out all of these words and then say like, oh, that's the one that I want to play because I don't
Yeah,
really.
totally.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it.
Okay, fair, fair, fair.
So you have
Because
a
yeah, I feel
character
like it would be a
profile.
lot of pressure right now to be like, okay, you're the beloved or whatever.
Mhm.
But we have to go. I'm just gonna give the turn order of me, Janine, Jack for now because
Works for me.
we each have to choose a word and it's like a whole thing. Um, but okay, so what words do we want to think of for the beloved? I chose myself first. I fucked this up. Uh,
Damn.
okay.
I have
Yeah.
a word if you want to pass, but we'll like
Um.
loop around.
Yeah, Janine. Okay, so it's going Janine, Jack, me. I'm already.
Temporarily, it's fine. Uh, because I think we should use ingenious for the beloved.
Mm.
Okay.
That's like that should be the
Is that
thing.
right? E
I
N.
think it's an I.
Okay.
I'm not 100%
Ingenious.
on that. I could be wrong.
Well.
I'm gonna pick generous.
Okay. That's
I
a good
feel like a
one.
toy maker should be generous.
Um. Generous. I'm gonna cheat and just use the word that I've had in my head for saying that example, which is attentive, which I think also works for someone who works with their hands and owns a
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah, has the best ship.
Be
Uh
like
huh.
detail oriented. Um. Uh. What's the funniest thing I could attach to this thing that I have in my head? Um. Best stuffed dog faces.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
that's important.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Janine comes up with a curveball that also fits perfectly.
None of those like little, oh, the mouth is just a little square of red felt. Oh, it's cute. No.
We're
You can
talking
grow the
good.
whole mouth. There's tongue. There is
Oh,
like a sort of
Jesus.
throat space. Um, there's
Wow.
no teeth because that's too fierce, but you get a good symmetrical curve on the little colon three mouth.
Are
How
these
detailed is how much does the snout protrude?
It depends on the breed.
Okay, of course. Sorry,
Hmm.
are these dog faces frightening, or I mean, I feel like there's an uncanniness that you want to avoid. And does best stuffed dog face design mean?
Hmm.
I mean, what
I
is the
think it
verisimilitude of these dog faces?
It depends. There's a section, it's a very deep store. So there's a section for toys for like 5 and under, and they have very soft, cute faces. And then there's a section for older children, and the toys are a little more realistic there because like, it's like a learning thing. Like you have
Mm.
to learn that like, dogs aren't all cute and fun. Sometimes they're a little scary, but you still love them.
Mm.
I'm gonna pick patient.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Mm. I feel like patience is a good attribute broadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Now to round it out.
Wealthy. No.
um. What's good about a shop owner? What would a shop owner be good at?
For some reason,
Um.
sharpshooter came to mind, and that's not.
Now,
But it's
hold on.
funny.
Now, hold on.
Now who's playing Arthur Morgan? Um. I'm trying to think of something that's like a little bit more like specific than resourceful.
Mm. What about
Um.
like like I was gonna say well connected, but that's almost more interpersonal than like. In what ways does
Ad-
their resourcefulness shine through?
Adaptability.
Oh,
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 sure. Yeah.
it's
Yeah, you would need to be very adaptable. Um,
it's the holiday season.
Sometimes. No, go ahead.
Oh, you got to start making the nutcrackers with the jaws that go. You got
Hmm.
to baubles, tinsel.
Sometimes you run out of
yeah.
hinges for the nutcracker jaws, and you have to like cut some pins down and then secure them in yourself. You gotta make it. You gotta make do. You gotta have
You
that make
you
do toy maker
I'm gonna,
spirit.
yeah.
I'm switching it to good under pressure, which is a great. It is something that everyone who runs a store is putting on their resume. So it's all, it's
Yeah,
all
that's
good.
true.
It's
Yeah.
honest.
Um,
Okay.
okay. So now, Janine, you choose
Yes.
one of these, and then you write a synonym and an antonym. And I'm just gonna write all of these on the bottom here so we can assign them out.
Okay. Are we just gonna pick any at random or just do ours?
So right now you just pick one of the six one of the six beloved ones. We choose what those words out are, and then we assign them out.
Okay.
So it's three pairs of words, and then we decide who gets who. Again, we go in another round. Okay.
Um, I gotta do best stuffed dog face design
Mm.
Okay.
because I love the implications of both the synonym and the antonym of that.
Sure.
They're very important.
God, it's so good. If we slept on this one, we'd not be able to forgive ourselves, really.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I mean, so the antonym writes itself, right? Like worst stuffed dog face design.
Okay, worst dog face design.
They're
Ashley
just like, yeah.
Ashley Campbell in the chat just says horrific dog designs. Just true.
Do we want to say worst or do we want to say like too realistic or like
I mean, the opposite of best is worst.
this is true?
But
This
worst
is
can
true.
also mean that they are too
Yeah.
realistic. It could also just mean that
Yeah.
like instead of using eyes, they use like peach pits or something. Like it could be anything.
Right. We're
Hmm.
storytellers, and we should wait to.
It's true.
I'm gonna
We
turn
should
this
play to
car
find out what
around.
happens.
Okay.
Okay. What's your synonym for that as well?
Um, maybe like best stuffed cat face design. Like it's still like a stuffed animal.
Oh, that's
I don't
good.
know if that's too close though.
No, it's good because then we
There
can.
is something romantic about the two toy makers who make the best animal faces uniting, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Best of cat design.
Andy in the chat says
Good.
it's just a taxidermist with a side hustle.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just assign these out at this point, or no? The I want to wait because I want to see the full list so we
Yeah.
can like
Before
yeah
we start
Yeah.
setting up people.
yeah before we figure out which pairs we want to make. So Jack.
I'm gonna pick um I'm gonna pick patient.
Okay.
And I'm gonna my synonym is going to let's just do my antonym first. It's impatient. I feel like the prefix really just does that one for me.
Uh huh.
Um and then my synonym, a synonym for patience is um thoughtful.
Hmm.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Are you locking that in? Because you seem unsure.
yeah, no, I'm locking that in. I'm locking that
Okay.
in.
Okay, good.
What does bilious mean?
Bilious is
I was
like ill, right? Like,
affected or by. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I
hey
just always
Janine,
think of that
hey
word as
Janine,
like a yeah.
what do you think bilious meant?
No, okay, so there's like a word that's it's like bilious. It's not like laconic or something, but it's a word for like it's like a word you use for someone who has like low blood pressure or something.
Is it phlegmatic?
Like emotional low blood pressure. No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It might be bucolic. Like there's all these words that don't mean fucking anything, but it's one of them for sure. Anyways, we should keep moving here.
Um, for attentive, I am gonna go with observant.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
And what is my synonym gonna be? Um, mm, I, I'm gonna go with careless, even though it's the obvious one. I just feel like all of like the other ones that I can think of are kind of mean, which are like negligent or
Right.
inconsiderate or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little less harsh. Oh, caseless, isn't it though? There we go.
Distracted even.
Oh, just
A little softer.
easily distracted. That's great. That's gonna be fun to play. So there we go. Okay, so now we have our. We have okay. So we have six new words, and these have to be assigned out in pairs. So you can say like, "Oh, I want suitor one to have the best cat design, and suitor two to be easily distracted." Once you take ownership of the pair, you do the whole thing. So we're back to Janine, and you don't have to take the ones that you picked, but you
I
know.
mean, I'm gonna.
Exactly.
But I mean, also at this point, it's mostly just random. Like, give cat design to suitor one and dog design to suitor
Right.
two.
Okay. So we
I
are
think
making some.
we're
We're
making that first character
we're
move.
growing these characters here. So suitor one has the best stuffed cat design, and suitor two has the worst dog face design. Suitor two really has a hurdle to get over to win the attention and affection of their beloveds,
Or
whereas
maybe
suitor
it's a thing
one.
they can bond over, learning to make
See,
good dog faces.
see, uh, Jack, you're up.
I'm gonna pick. Hmm. I'm gonna pick. Suitor one has easily distracted,
Okay.
and suitor two is observant. Not observant of dogs' faces, or maybe just maybe the observing is not the issue. Um, but they're doing okay.
um, okay. I'm gonna give. Oh, this is tough because then you you fuck up the balance. I think I'm gonna give impatient to worst dog face and thoughtful to.
Because
Can
their
we?
name no.
No, it's not. No, hang
Giving
on.
impatient to worst dog face. That's fucked up.
Hey, I heard your dog faces are really bad, but guess what? You're
It's
also
just
impatient. Oh,
That's
they're
jeez.
probably
just
why
like
they're fucked up. Really, like
Yeah, yeah. There's not
they're
spending enough
taking their
time.
time.
it's just such a clear. Uh, I obviously already know them as the cat designer and the dog designer. um, okay, so we've done this. I'm scrolling down. Yada yada yada. Okay, so now we modify traits. Do we do this to our own or do we do this in a pair? No, we still do this in a round. So we just keep doing this and then choose who we are afterwards. So Right. Okay. So now that we have easily distracted, thoughtful, best cat design for suitor one, and suitor two has worst dog face design, observant, and impatient, we modify these by saying but. So you can say, let's say we had used generous as one of them. You could say like, oh, they're generous, but wait, they're generous, but cold.
Gluttonous. Okay, that
Yeah.
works.
And
So
these don't have to be antonyms, right? Just so long as they add some new aspect to the attribute.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, we're just kind of remixing a little bit here. We're not like trying to.
It's phrased like there's a bit of a relation, but not like a direct
Mm-hmm.
thing
Yeah,
necessarily, right?
yeah, it's written just to add nuance, but it's not specifically it. Okay, so it specifically says the modification should strengthen, weaken, or give in detail to what we know about the character based on their trait. Um, so it doesn't have to be like a specific. It doesn't have to be linked in the same way that it was there, but it should be related to that first word. You shouldn't say like
Right.
worst dog face design, but smells nice. You know, like that's not.
Right.
Well, you make terrible, terrible dog faces, but you smell like vanilla.
Those dog faces smell great, but I can't stand to look at them. I just put one in a in a pillowcase in my clothes drawer, and it really improves the whole feel of the thing. Okay, who goes first here?
Was it still Janine?
I have an idea.
Okay.
Um, for worst dog face design.
Mm.
Worst dog face design, but best tail wagging mechanism. So you only want to look at their dogs from the
Oh
back.
my god! And then you turn it around, you're like, oh,
Yeah, but that's the display is just all like these little dog tail wagging. Oh, it's so cute! It's so cute. They pick one up, turn around, wah,
yeah, yeah,
and they go to the cat stand.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
Play to
tough.
find out what happens, and it turns out that what's happening is intricate dog construction. Uh,
Um,
I'm gonna pick hmm, who's that?
Someone with the
uh,
best dog face.
Yeah.
it's
How
my
many have
next door neighbor's
dogs?
dog.
Okay,
Um,
really confused for a second.
I'm gonna pick I want something with easily distracted that is like that adds an aspect to it where it's like they flip between a lot of things and they're able to keep those in there. They're capable of spinning a lot of plates or something. Like
Um,
they'll bounce
I would
between them, but they have a lot.
I would say like easily distracted but passionate,
Oh
maybe.
yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Cool.
And there's something interesting to be said, right, about a character who is like genuinely passionate but also is easily distracted.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. The affection for things is full and true, but you get
yeah, yeah,
distracted sometimes.
yeah.
Um. Okay. Okay. Um. Ginny, I want you to, if you have a good idea, please.
I do.
It's my turn. I was gonna apply something to best cat design, but I wanted to make sure that
Oh
you
no,
were
go for
not.
it. Go for it. My
Okay.
idea is for something else. You're good. You're all good.
Okay. I'm writing, but legs are too short.
That sounds like a selling point.
You don't know.
Little short leg cats with good faces? Come on.
It's not, maybe
That's
people
Lil
don't.
Bub's whole platform.
Okay, wait.
My child
Mm,
will accept only the tallest toy cats.
Maybe
I was gonna.
yeah, maybe like Egyptian mouse or like really in style or like the Oriental short hairs and stuff, and everyone's like, "Oh, these little stubby cats just look so." Ugh.
I changed it to legs are not even length.
Oh, that's good. I want that.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
All these little tippy cat toys.
Keep
I
falling
can't put that
over.
on my shelf like this. Oh, sorry, Jack.
No, I just noticed the chat briefly suggested legs are too long, which is very
Oh.
good. But not even is incredible.
I think not even is the best.
Yeah, we have variants here.
Observant but myopic.
Okay, that's
Ooh, yeah. Let me
So they're
check what
very
myopic
observant, but
means.
they are like so narrow
Mm.
okay.
when they're observing and so like fixated on the details.
Except the faces of the dogs.
Well, that's maybe again that's why they're bad because they
Sure.
like fixated so much on like I got to get the eye shine realistic, but then it's just like well the mouth is on upside down and there's a beetle under it. So
Okay. I'm gonna pick. So my options now are thoughtful or impatient.
hmm
Um, I'm gonna pick. Thoughtful but brisk. So like their manner is quite brisk.
brisk or brusque.
Let me check the definition.
When I think of Brits, I think of like walking at a high
I
speed.
kind of think of like a nice fall day.
So maybe what I have been doing all this time is either this is a British thing or I've just been using the wrong word forever. Let's check.
I think you could still say someone's like, "Oh, he was very brisk with me."
Yeah, no,
That still sounds okay.
Oh,
the
true.
dictionary
Yeah.
says showing a wish to deal with things quickly, slightly brusque,
Mhm.
which I love that
Okay.
they like raise the vowel sound from brusque to brisk when they need to make it slightly. Um,
I'm gonna write brisk slash short because that's the word that I would use for
yeah,
that.
yeah. But I want to be clear that I don't think this shortness is necessarily like. Often when I think of short, I think of someone who's being like cruel without necessarily realizing it. They're just kind of like, I don't care or
Mm.
whatever. And I think this briskness or this brusqueness or this shortness kind of runs the gamut of both that and also maybe just being quite brisk about things. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see.
You know, people are busy.
People are busy.
Um, and I'm gonna go with impatient, but hmm, impatient but well planned. No, well, does that work? Impatient but organized.
Oh, that's interesting.
Maybe like methodical,
Hmm.
where it's like they're impatient, but also they want to do things in a certain order and like cross their T's and dot their I's.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for. That's closer to organized.
Mm.
I think so. Someone who's impatient but like is is like organized enough and has is like on top of their shit enough that like that doesn't always have to come through because if they're well planned, then they don't have to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you for knowing what I meant. So we're done with that part. Now we are going to develop the beloved a little bit more. Um, and I'm just going to go in the same order because okay, the only the only thing about this is that if at this point we know who's playing each of these characters, the beloved gets to make their own dream, which I feel like is kind of important. So I don't know if we want to like call dibs on people now.
Do any of us have a particularly strong desire to play any particular role?
Not really.
These are all great characters.
They are. I have an
Um,
idea for the beloved's dream, but it's also like not a special idea that would
Okay.
particularly matter one
You
way or
we
the
can
other.
just keep going in the same like I trust y'all enough to like if I end up playing the beloved like oh Janine gave me this dream that I don't feel close to or whatever.
right.
Uh, so in that case with our turn order what's actually going to happen is well if you have an idea for a dream, you should probably do it. But it would be Janine doing the opportunity, which is why this is the beloved available. Obstacle, what major challenge is the beloved facing? And the dream, what is the beloved goal or ambition in the world? So,
Um,
Ooh, I have an idea for an obstacle.
yeah.
What if we do a sort of a you've got mail situation, and the department store is opening a toy shop?
Oh, okay.
is that what You've Got Mail is about?
Yeah, you've got mail is about a little bookshop run by Meg Ryan, and then like a kind of like what's the American bookshop called? The famous one? Um,
Barnes and
Amazon.com.
Noble?
Barnes and Noble.
Borders?
I think it might be like a fake Barnes and Noble slash Borders opens up and is like, "We're gonna put you out of business." And Tom Hanks works
Yeah.
for the people, and Meg Ryan's like, "You wouldn't do such a thing," and he does.
Oh.
Young love.
Young love, Nora
There's like
Ephron.
two big ways in which that movie doesn't age well, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, it's a. I had fun watching it.
I was assuming it was just the one.
No, it's got a good dog in it. And then at the end they play "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," and I cried.
Oh,
Because, look, romantic comedies of a certain time know how to pull the heartstrings, even as you're watching,
they
going,
do.
with tears
Yeah.
going down your face. uh, yeah. So we need an opportunity and a dream now.
Hmm.
Um, the idea I had for the dream is just like a really like basic like make the hot holiday toy. Like make the thing
Oh.
that they can't keep on the shelves.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Because I mean, it's December. It's the game. like
Yeah. Do you want to make it something like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
I was wondering if
I was going to suggest something more personal, which is like make, you know, make something that they're super proud of, and not that's just like, you know what I mean? Like make the second best dog face design.
I was gonna suggest something in completely the other direction, which was like make it into the like whatever the mail order catalog's top 10 toys of the year or something is
Oh.
like the toy inspector comes round.
mm,
But I love that Ali's one was like, let's make it more personal, and mine was like, let's make it, let's try and get into the catalog.
Oh, we can combine all these ideas. I think the idea of like, because this is like a magical setting and like newspapers are probably who even knows, like maybe there's like a make it into the magazine's top best new toys of the season or whatever.
Yeah,
Does
I'm
that
yeah.
work? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
I'm just gonna write newsletters. Best top 10 toys list.
And like the town is like clamoring for this shit. They're like, I got to know the top 10, and I want some even legs in there.
I just wanted to make it new because I really like the idea of this person being like, I've already got the best dog face in town, and I have to wow them one more time.
It's Oscar season, baby.
Everyone used to talk about my dog faces, but now now everyone's got a dog with a nice face. I need to make something new to keep them coming. Because once you have a dog with a nice face, you don't need two.
Right. Exactly. I mean, there's different breeds, but you know.
Sure.
Okay, what's the opportunity? Why is the beloved available? I'm like, my mind keeps going down the obvious highway, which is like they fucking work retail during holiday season. They're super busy. But there's probably a better reason why somebody wouldn't date.
What if it has something to do with the department store? Like, what if uh, someone ditched them to
Ooh.
go found the
Oh.
toy section of the department store?
Oh.
Oh, they're like,
So like a recently.
Took their dog face secrets to the competition.
Wow.
wow. There's like like, what do you call the like first mate position? If
First mate.
is that what it's called? Off a ship,
I think so.
where it's like I'm the first mate of this toy store, and that position is up for grabs because the traitorous one went to McGuddens to teach him how to make dog faces.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's like a
McGuddins is the
recently.
funniest fake department store name I've ever heard in my life.
Is it a real
It's
thing?
so gross.
Let's find let's find out. It's not a real thing. Oh my god.
What was that? You want to spell that for me really quick?
Yeah, sure. We have a choice here. It can either be it can either be McGuddans or
Okay.
MacGuddans.
We have another choice, which is if we go with the first one, but instead of having the C, we make that an A. So it's McGuddins.
Oh, McGuddens is great.
Mm,
McGuddens feels like beforehand it felt like Scottish, and now it feels like Victorian English.
Oh,
okay.
it's something else. Wow.
Okay.
Oh
I'm
wait,
also just
sorry,
gonna. Oh.
Ali. I'm afraid I'm afraid we changed the spellings as you were spelling it. Sorry, I hate to disappoint you. Now it's
Oh.
MacGuddans.
I think you can still leave the G capital. That's still
Okay.
fun.
Perfect. I love it. And then I'm just gonna, just so we know, um,
Mm.
beloved owns. Okay. Well, now we have that. There's a complication here immediately, which is like, why aren't these people just going to work for the department store?
Cause fuck them.
Cause fuck the department store.
we're all we're
That's the
all
thing
pure
that unites
hearts.
us out of the
They
gate
come
is
into this
fuck
neighborhood. Yeah,
them.
fuck the department
Mhm.
store.
Mhm.
I might not know how to make a dog's face, but fuck those guys.
Well,
I'd
it's
rather
an
make a
easy hurdle.
I'd rather make a bad dog's face for a small business than a great dog's face for McGuddens.
I mean, the answer is probably really, God, the answer is probably really that like they mostly manufacture in like small factories,
Mm-hmm.
that are like in the middle of fucking nowhere. So it's like if you are into toy manufacturing as well as
Mm.
selling, like not a good
Mm.
gig for you. Like the gig that would have been good for you, which is buyer and quality assurance and whatever, like picking out the products and mocking them up and stuff. That job is taken
Right.
by the trade.
Right.
So
Right.
like if you want to work the sales floor, cool, but no one's gonna give a shit about your best tail wagging mechanism there
McGuddens,
unless
This
you
is
sell to the company.
yeah, and like McGuddens maybe has like one like shop floor shop toy maker. You can go and watch the toy maker work or something. And I bet that's the person who went your first mate who went over to McGuddens is
Yeah.
like sitting on a fucking little stool fucking churning out
But it's
elves
like
or
a
some
total
shit.
Penelope thing too, or like the thing that they do in historical reenactment villages where it's like you see someone making a pair of shoes and what you don't see is the second you leave they unstitch the shoes they just made and start over. Like it's just like manufacturing theater.
What's a total Penelope? Also, I'm writing down total Penelope in my names list.
From the Odyssey.
Oh,
She
she
has all the
does.
suitors
Yeah.
and she's like, I have to make my shroud. Fuck off until I've made this shroud, then I'll marry you.
My
So
shroud
she
takes
makes
forever.
the shroud and then like unweaves it every night.
Yeah.
Mm.
Total
Okay.
Penelope.
Okay. So next step is we make a person, place, and a thing for each of the suitor, which is pretty self-explanatory. Um, we can just shout them out, or we can go in a line again per suitor.
Is
I
person
don't
like
know.
what they are?
No, it's like a
Person
friend or
is
a.
yeah, I guess it's
Oh,
not
okay.
self-explanatory.
Okay.
Sorry, let me actually read it. Um, the person is a friend or ally, enemy or rival, or another acquaintance of the suitor. A place is somewhere the suitor frequents or is associated with, or that the player wants to see featured in the game. The thing is an object the suitor uses or owns. Um, since all the players create these traits, they can range from positive to negative, as do the attributes. So,
Okay.
Sorry, I'm typing very loudly.
it's
I
okay.
Oh, that's not what I wanted.
um, If we have ideas here, shout them out. Um,
Hmm. Okay. What about what about a hot chocolate and strudel shop frequented by one of these people?
okay.
Ooh.
Like there's snow in the windows.
What
There's a little
what's
model
its name?
that. Oh, Janine. Look, we
Sorry.
can't all do McGuddens the whole time.
The guns was so good though. I'm
This
already on a name generator page, by the way.
this strudel shop is called something like. Oh, it's called. Let me just. Old names of trains. It's
Great.
called.
Perfect.
No, I just went to Google Images as though that would be helpful to me to see names. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's lots of subpages for names of trains and it's
This
killing me.
bakery name generator that I'm on is too modern because it suggested those buns dough.
No, come on,
No.
get out of
It
here.
also
No.
suggested snack muffins. That's not what we need.
Hmm.
That's not helpful here.
It's called. Um. It's called the something express, and it's got in its window a little wooden train set that goes around and around, carrying strudels. And it was made by the beloved. Um, it's called.
Oh, okay. So this is
It's
a
called.
past passion for the beloved.
Yeah, it's called the list of named strudels. Like the Strudel Express is too on the nose, right?
It's a little on the
The
nose.
But
Strudel
it could
Express is
be.
an animated movie starring Tom Hanks.
What if it was like, what do you use in strudel? Like cinnamon, brown sugar, butter. That's it.
Eggs, the Egg Express. The Egg Express is the name of a shop. Is the
What about the
worst name.
Comfort Express?
That sounds a bit like a hotel to me. Like it sounds
Oh,
like a cheap hotel.
well,
What about the
Did you
strudels?
know there's
No, go on.
there's a dessert called a summerberry grunt and a rhubarb eaten mess?
What about like the Lingonberry Express or something? No, I hate it.
Old
I said
fashioned apple pandowdy.
okay, this is getting.
old-fashioned apple pandowdy. Okay, I'm back on with Ali with like the cinnamon express or something. The cinnamon steamer, the overnight cinnamon,
Nutmeg
the
is
nut.
also a good one. People
Mm,
like nutmeg. Old timey people fucking love nutmeg.
what's the most funniest spice for your thing to
List of
make
spices.
Anise is funny. It's weird shaped.
Mm,
Hmm.
it's not funny to say out loud.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't want funny to look at. We want funny in the mouth. Um.
There's a spice named Bieber. Um,
I
um.
clove isn't funny, but it's interesting.
Clove is.
Um,
Yeah. I'm looking at this list of train names again. List of passenger trains in Italy and Switzerland. I want to see how they name these. Hmm. They just name them like Heidi Express, IC Teodolina, Caravaggio. That's you can't just name it after one of your painters. Stradivari, that's a violin maker. These aren't fucking trains. God, the Italians are bad at naming trains.
didn't these people know when they were naming these trains that we were gonna need them for a
Three
fantasy hot
weirdos.
dog?
Which... Oh,
Lovage. I guess that's good for
Mm,
seafood, though. That's not
yeah, I
really
don't
a
know.
sweet spice.
okay. Hear me out here. There is a Swiss passenger train that runs from Zermatt to Samoritz, and it's just called the Glacier Express. Now, I know
Ooh.
it is not related to baking anymore, but it is kind of holiday related. What about a strudel shop called the Glacier Express that has a little train going around, and you can go in, and it's warm, the windows are a little steamed up. you can take your coat off. You can sit by the fire. A little train called the Glacier Express will bring you a small and only slightly battered strudel.
I like
Okay.
it. At night they
I
have whiskey ice.
They have what?
They have whiskey ice on hand.
Oh, they do.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where you go. That's where you get it. I mean, maybe this is also maybe they also have an ice hookup. Like that's maybe also maybe they started out as like because people used to have to literally get their ice shipped in from the fucking North Pole
Hmm.
and shit. Maybe they started out as like an ice broker, and then the ice business dried up. I don't know.
Mm.
Um, or maybe during the winter months it's kind of less of a thing.
I'm
Ice,
already
it's
I'm
fine.
I'm already writing that Suitor 2 hangs out in the speakeasy behind the Glacier Express.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because that's where to get ice.
I love this idea that we have Suda 1 who's like, bring me a strudel, please. And Suda 2 is like, bring me a strudel and a Brandy Alexander or something. Is a Brandy Alexander a drink? Or is that
It
like a
is.
biscuit?
It might be both.
It's a
Definitely a
drink.
drink.
It's a drink.
Oh, that's so small. That's not. We're just gonna have to do with the space here. Um, you said that this was also run by the Beloved. Do
Oh,
we?
no, I guess I
Oh,
misspoke. But like, it
okay.
could
The
also be.
train, the train was made by
The
the
train was
beloved,
made
right?
by the beloved.
Oh, the
Mm.
train was made by the Beloved. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna write that.
Um, yeah.
Um, I have an idea for a person.
Okay.
Um, I had a last name and then I totally okay. That'll do. That'll do. Um, so their name is no, that doesn't work. Shit. Um, fuck.
Do you know describe who they are and work backwards?
Yeah, I want like a scrappy little urchin child kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
We
Excellent.
need we need one of those. We just
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
There,
Mm-hmm.
bring me
um
a dog with a messed up face the size of you, the one that's in the window.
I think his name is Loyal Duncan.
That's
First name
amazing.
Loyal, last name Duncan.
Perfect.
Startlingly disloyal.
Do you want to assign a suitor to loyal?
um, I think Loyal Duncan is probably uh the I think suitor 1.
Okay.
Just because every now and then Loyal Duncan gets to pick up one of the cats with the especially egregious legs. Um, and that just makes his day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. I somehow lost the text size that I should be using, but it's fine. Um, okay. Back to Jack.
Um, hmm. Uh, I'm gonna pick a. I'm just rereading the person place thing real quick. Oh, it's an object the suitor uses or owns. Oh, yeah. I know. It is a. It is a, like, I want something, like, absurdly alpine, and I can't decide if it's, like, a piano accordion, or like one of those little horns that you blow that you can play like a little tune on. Not one of the huge mountain horns. The piano accordion is funny because as soon as you play it, you've made an error. Um, but the horn is like smaller and more portable. I think like little. What about it if it's just a trumpet and they can play the trumpet really well? And I want to
Hmm.
give that to Suta 2. It's a cornet, not a trumpet. Sorry.
Okay. Cornet. Is that
I like the in the
C-O?
I. I think. Cornet.
Just
Maybe.
okay.
Yeah. Cornet.
N-E-T. Okay, perfect. Okay. I think that Suitor 2 has a like design assistant. Um, and thought when I said that out loud, I was gonna think of a name, but haven't. Um, um, I'm gonna go with Stacy Lane, and I'm gonna put in parentheses design assistant. Okay. I haven't done a space here, but it's fine. We're fine. Oh, I'm just gonna do it the way that I was gonna do it with Duncan, which is okay. Okay. There we go. I'm just gonna say who they are at the top here. And now, Janine, you have a final thing to assign to Suitor One.
Um, I think that Suitor 1 has um an incredibly powerful horse.
Oh, like a Shire horse?
Yeah. Yes.
Powerful.
Um yes, it's like
Okay.
very
Just
it's
checking.
like strong, it's in the prime of life. It has never been sick. Um
Wow.
it's never
Damn.
it's never I was going to say it's never broken eye contact first. Um,
Yeah, no, it's true. I feel like
when
that's an
people
interesting
stare
thing
at
to know
it.
about this horse. This horse will just look at you from outside of the strudel shop.
What's a good horse name? What's a good name for like a really strong horse?
Let me check my names list to
Uh,
see if I have anything suitable for a
Yeah, I
unbelievably
my
strong horse.
the horse that I've been using in Red Dead Redemption the entire time is named Greg, so I'm gonna leave it to y'all.
God, that's great.
I I named my horses in Red Dead. So I had an idea that was like not a good idea, but I had three horses. So I was like, well,
Mm.
I guess I'll just do this. And I was like, okay, well, so this is a lady horse. I'm gonna name this horse Gretel, and this is a dude horse. I'm gonna name this horse Hansel. And then I was like, okay, well, what else goes with Hansel and Gretel? I was like, oh, Candy and Nuts. So if I have a lady horse, I'll name him Candy. But then I ended up with a male horse as my third horse, so I just have Hansel and Gretel and Nuts.
Oh, that's great. Um, my
It's
horse
fine.
is
It's good.
called Benedict. I only have one, and it's called Benedict because I bought it with the money that I got from bringing in a bounty called Benedict, and I was like, okay, thank you.
Meh, that
Um,
adds
Great.
up.
the closest thing to the name for a powerful horse that I have on my list right now is Little Stressful, but that that is too on the nose for a horse that will just stare you dead in the eyes. Um,
Um, what about Ransom?
oh, like the plant?
Wow.
What?
Ransom is a it's a sort of flower. Do you mean also
I'm
like the thing you do when you have kidnapped
yeah.
someone?
That's more what I
Okay,
meant.
sure. A ransom is a like a it's like a little white. Hmm. It's kind of like a little white bluebell almost. Um. Oh no, they're it's wild garlic. Um.
Oh,
Which also tracks with just this unbelievably powerful horse.
yeah. Ransom also just sounds like a horse that has lived a whole other life before it became this toy maker's horse.
Yeah, and it's looking at me. Can you make it stop looking at me?
They definitely like inherited Ransom. That's probably what happened.
um, okay. Ransom is the okay. Wait. There you go. So I'm just gonna write ransom powerful horse. I have the space bar here.
Ransom powerful horse. That is, that's my goal. I'm the villain.
And I'm gonna write type of horn, just so we know. And then I'm gonna think of a name for the speakeasy. And I just googled words describing ice. Just
I'd like one synonym
um,
and one antonym for ice, please.
God. Um, damn. What's cold?
Icebergs are cold. Um, what are some words to describe the North Pole? Words to polar. Now it's the Polar Express.
You got it. You got it in one. Um, I was gonna say like the landslide, but like,
Oh,
yeah, I'm just gonna go with that because
that's
it's
my
random.
favorite of Hitman Season 1's bonus levels. Uh, although we should probably say, since we're in an alpine town, this is the speakeasy rather than
Oh
an
yeah,
actual landslide.
yeah. I was gonna write that in the corner, but it works here too. And then loyal. How did you describe loyal again?
Like he's like scrappy,
Scrappy, young,
like a
shop
scrappy
kid.
urchin kid who like they hire him to do odd jobs kind of thing.
Scrappy urchin kid.
His hobbies probably include like stealing oranges and
Mm-hmm.
like, you
Okay, wait,
know.
let me write this down. Hobbies include stealing
Getting
oranges.
getting a big pot of water and pouring it on the path to make an ice slide.
Ooh.
Wait, wait, how do you spell orange?
Orange?
Orange. There we go. I thought it was two G's. It wasn't.
No, that's orang.
No.
Um, and we need one more hobby. Um,
Freezing.
whistling.
Okay, that's good. And then okay. Yeah, and now we assigned three traits to Duncan and Stacy. Um, and Stacy's a design assistant. And her hobbies include. I'm so glad that we're just making them into style savvy characters.
Mm.
That's all you need to know. Um, her hobbies include scrapbooking.
Mm.
Um, do y'all have any?
Um, what if she collects something? That might be a bit close to scrapbooking, actually. Um,
Well, similar hobbies. I'm gonna say collects coins.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, and I mean, do we want to get another animal in here? Does she own
Oh.
Does she own a dog, which might let us do some sort of facial studies?
Well, she's the friend of the person who has the worst face design.
Dog with a really, really, really strange face, and this and this person is. This is not my suggestion. Um. Hmm.
um. Also, I'm gonna switch from. Oh, wait. Roll 20, please. Um. I'm gonna say that she's a. She's a design assistant now, but I was like, would either of these people have like stores that have employees? I guess there's loyal, so it's fine. That's fine.
Mm.
I was gonna have like a design major. I'm gonna change her. She's an architect now. I'm sorry.
Oh, storytelling's so good. We could just be like, no, she's an architect now.
But she still scrapbooks and collects coins, and that's good for now.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't actually have to do this. I'm just
No, no, we're just getting a little extra detail, right?
okay. So The prize is, we already said it was getting a window in the toy maker shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
A
Hmm.
window
Like a prominent window.
in the toy maker shop. Window in toy
Oh
maker shop.
wow, Ali, you've gone real roboty for a sudden.
Yeah.
What's
Oh, I'm glad you were hearing that too, Janine.
hmm.
Wow.
I think it's the server ID
Oh,
default.
Okay, is stream
Janine
okay?
is
No, the
Janine.
stream is not okay.
Mm. What if we all just leave the Discord call and come back? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe? Oh, that seems okay now.
Yeah,
Oh, it
it
evened out.
seems good now. It was red for a second and now it seems
Yeah, same.
fine. Okay.
It must have been like a Discord thing.
Let me just reload YouTube.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, we're still live and seem to
yeah,
be
we're
good.
good. The stream didn't
Okay.
drop, which I was surprised by.
Okay, well, perfect. Okay, so now we're moving on to the structure of the game. So we're done. Okay, so all we have to do is pick which character we want to play and give them names. There's also a conflict section that's optional if you're playing as two. If you're just playing as two people, then the beloved is like
Hmm.
NPC essentially. Um, I feel like we have a lot here,
Yeah, I think we're fine.
so I think
Yeah.
we're good. Um, but yeah, now's the time.
Does anyone have any strong feelings, strong inclinations?
I am good either way. Uh,
I'm.
there is so okay, go on.
Oh no, no, no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say really briefly, like, there's not a huge difference between like playing. The beloved gets a little bit more because you get the first scene because the first scene is focused on the beloved and their dream and not the suitor's aspirations. Um, the other thing is the the beloved turn is a little bit different. It's kind of the same idea as the suitor's turns,
Mm.
but you have to choose something that like can either sort of affect people, really affect people, or affect all three of you. And
Damn.
depending on what that is, gets you more points essentially. And you can see these little points underneath the prizes, how we keep track of that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so the beloved has a like a little bit more responsibility, but I'm sort of like the rules lawyer here, so I can just take care of that either way, in terms of like explaining if you're confused about stuff. So like if you want to be the beloved, by all means.
I'm leaning very slightly towards Suitor 1, but I don't know if Janine is also leaning towards Suitor 1 because you gave them Lord Duncan and the extremely powerful horse. So so I would not be at all my nose would not be put out of joint if you were like, no, I want the very powerful horse because I know that I'm going to get to meet this horse regardless
Here's
of
the
what
thing
I
is,
choose.
I more than anything want to see what you can do with Loyal Duncan and Ransom the Powerful Horse.
Okay.
So,
All right.
um,
I'll put
that
myself down for
seems
Suitor 1 in that
exceptional.
case. Thank you.
Um, I I'd be okay playing either Suitor 2 or the Beloved. I think my biggest thing that's affecting me either way is like I'm still a little confused about how the turns actually look, but that'll be resolved when we're playing, so it's fine. Um,
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just um yeah, if it's purely a mechanics concern, I will help you
yeah,
walk you
it's
through it and
like
be
it's been
suitor two.
fine so far, so I'm not
Okay.
too. I'll take Beloved then.
Okay, perfect.
Damn, nice.
Our ingenious toy owner. Okay, I'm just gonna put our names at the top here so we know who's who.
I
So
thought you were
Jack.
saying RNGenius like RNG.
That's what I thought as
And
well.
I was like, damn, that's good. Where'd she get that from?
Iron Genius is our gamer our elite gamer name. Um We're gamer of the year at the Game Awards. What's that fucking person called? Trending gamer.
Content creator of the year or something,
Oh.
right? That's the new one.
Mhm. Anyway, we won, and we
Yeah,
forgot to
we've
tell
beat
you.
this game.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Do y'all want to like take a break real quick to figure out names and before we get into it, or y'all?
Break would
I
be.
have a name, but I can go either way.
Oh.
Okay.
If we take like a 5 minute break, it's always nice to get up and stretch and
Okay. Yeah.
get another cup of coffee.
Cool.
All right.
Just remember to deafen us on Discord.
Yeah, I'll remember that this
When we
time.
get
Thank you
names and
very much for
stuff.
reminding me because if you hadn't reminded me, I would have forgotten. I just pushed the button that says deafen and then we're good, right?
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Goodbye. Hi.
Time.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
I went and got some
I
more
also.
coffee.
Ooh.
Mmm.
Oh,
Ice and seltzer.
amazing. What flavor?
Raspberry lime, of course.
Is that the one we had in Vancouver?
Probably that's the one that I look for. Okay, the seltzer that I drink is Polar Raspberry Lime. Polar is the best seltzer brand, but they're like only available on the East Coast.
Mm.
I think they're based out of
Mm.
Massachusetts.
I thought it was a
Um,
flavor for a second. Like some non-specific flavor. I thought you were listing two flavors. The flavors I like are
oh.
Polar and Raspberry Lime.
Ooh, I'd
Um,
love to have a polar flavored seltzer.
mm. Wow.
I think that's just soda water.
No, I think a polar flavored seltzer has a sort of a pine, like a pleasant piney flavor.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
like a little smokiness. I have a question that we have to address before we continue,
Mm,
since we're talking about the North Pole. You know, at the North Pole, where Santa lives, there are
mm.
those red and white candy stripes. Like the North Pole is like that, right?
Wait.
You mean in real life or in fiction?
In fiction, in fiction,
Okay.
is
Mm-hmm.
does it taste? Does it taste like? Is it a candy pole, or does it just look like it's candy
No,
striped?
I think it's like Santa trying to signal for a barber to show up because he needs a
Oh,
haircut
because
Mm.
he
real
needs
bad,
a
but the barber never shows up because it's the North Pole.
right, and he can't cut his hair himself because it's like a union
No,
thing.
he doesn't. He doesn't have YouTube. He doesn't know.
Elves can cut hair.
No, they can't. That's the
Yeah, but
thing about
they're so
elves.
small that they can't.
Wait, how is that a thing about elves?
Haven't you seen all the elves in Lord of the Rings?
Ah, that's true, and that's the same kind of elf. Certifiably, that's true. That's where they all went.
Is that a Lord of the Rings thing?
Oh, they just have
Some
very, very
sort.
long hair in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it because they can't cut their hair?
No, I think they can. I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny
Jack's
to.
doing a comedy. It's just
I'm just doing a bit. I'm just doing a classic elf bit.
You should say yes because I believe you.
Oh right, yes, elves. The real creature, the elf, cannot cut its own
that's
hair or
also
others.
that's also why Solus is so special because he just naturally has no hair, and everyone's just like, how does he do it?
Yeah, but if he did, he couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Huh.
oldest elf in the west.
Call me
That's
Bioware.
yeah, yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
Yes, welcome back. We're here playing Shooting the Moon once again. My cat is in my room, and this is going to be a louder stream now. Do you hear that?
Yeah, is it
Did
kicking
you say
stuff over?
louder? Because I think you meant better.
Yeah, yeah, louder and better.
I put a bunch of tissue paper inside of a big box
Oh, I've
that
seen this picture.
PS4s get shipped into, and it's been really a big hit. Um, so I'm very glad. It's a little loud hit, but it's fine. We're fine. We're back playing Shooting the Moon. We have said everybody else. We just need to make names and say who these characters are and hop in. Does anyone want to start?
Janine, you said you had a name, right?
I do. Um, the name that I have is Dovey Blewett or Dove's Wings Blewett. Blewett like Bluet. Everyone's laughing. Why is that? How would I type
That's why I was laughing because I was like, wait, I don't know.
We've
You
just been
decide.
paralyzed by.
It's a supportive laugh. Um, Debbie Blewett. That's a great name. Um, Jack, did you think of a name while you were getting coffee?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be called Caraway Sticklepath.
Wow.
Caraway like the seed. Oh, I'll type this.
Okay.
I love
Um,
that we all took a break and then came back and we're like, how do we make this as hard as possible for Allie? What if
Caraway
we just make names that are just complete nonsense?
Sticklepath.
Do you guys
Um,
remember how many times I forgot peccary?
Oh yeah,
Is
Technically,
that it?
right?
the little
Yeah.
creature. Yeah, you
Little
forgot that.
pigs.
Basically, every time its name was required.
It's a hard one. Look,
Isn't
it's not of
easy.
common use.
It just isn't easy.
It also sounds like a Japanese soft drink. So
Mm.
what are you gonna do?
Oh, yeah. Boy, I am I am outclassed here. I am gonna go with I just had one. Where did it go? Ba, ba, ba. I'm looking at a list of flowers. Okay. Um,
You know what I always forget? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind. Or wait, no, is Madeline also a flower, or am I thinking of Marguerite?
Madeline is like the little
Marguerite is a
biscuit.
flower. Oh right, Madeline is a cookie.
It's
Okay,
that little
right.
biscuit that Proust eats, and
Yeah,
he remembers a time, a day's gone by.
of course.
I am going with mellow aster.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
Hey Mallow, how good are you at making dogs' faces? Quick cue.
Also, do you know Loyal Duncan?
Oh yeah, Mellow Aster and Loyal Duncan.
Do we need to do a swap around?
I've seen Loyal around town. They're a great kid, and my dog faces are improving by the day.
That's what you
It's
want to see in your report card.
exactly. It's all about improvement. Because what you really don't want is a sort of devolution of dog face quality. You don't want them to be getting worse.
I'm gonna close my door a little bit. Y'all can banter a little.
How's it going, Janine? You ready to do some banter?
I think so.
A thing we're so good
Have
at.
some
We have a
fun. Let's all
podcast about it. Yeah. Well, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. That's everything. I think we're ready to resolve the game. We've made all the jokes we possibly can.
And we're back. No more jokes.
Sorry.
No more jokes.
No
We're
more
This is
done.
jokes.
a
Sorry.
joke-free stream from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the game for real. I'm gonna give a very high level of what this is again, basically. So the first scene we set up a scene with the beloved alone, thinking about their dream, whatever. It's called the prologue. Then we move on to round one. First, it's going to be Jack's turn. So, Janine, you're going to set up a scene for Jack, and then Jack is going to enter that scene and explain how they are trying to appeal to you in some way, or reach for their prize, or whatever else. And then I am going to listen to that scene and then be like, ha ha ha, you're not going to beat me. And then I'm going to introduce a hurdle. And then from that, y'all get three responses and you work together. So one of you responds, I'm going to use my trait in this way to get over this hurdle. Another one can say, I'm going to use my trait in this way to get over this hurdle. And then the third one is up for grabs. You can use a second trait. You can suggest something to another player. Whatever else. You can just think of another idea. And then you roll them, and then we see who wins. But I'm going to start actually reading from this book now. So, yeah. The game begins with a brief scene focusing on the beloved called the prologue. Choose to narrate or play out a scene as followed. Um, So if you want to just narrate it, the beloved player describes the beloved in their daily life, contemplating their dream, and introduces the opportunity. Describe what the dream means to the beloved. Illustrate how the beloved feels about the opportunity, obstacle. Have the beloved show how drawn they are to both of the suitors. Or you can say all of those things out loud, or you can play it as a scene. Um, so there you go.
I think. Okay. Um, I think this first scene is should probably just be narration. I think this first scene is like both of the suitors have made themselves known and like their work known. Um, Maybe it's even a thing of like Devi has gone to the market, like looking for, she has to replace her fucking ex who dumped her for a department store. Who the fuck does that? Um, replace her ex sounded weird, but you know what I mean in terms of their role at the store and the like. So she goes to sort of the market, the craft market where a lot of people are selling their stuff, um, and picks up a bunch of things. And there are two things that like really stand out to her. Um, she thinks, because she's looking for someone she can bring in who will really like take her stuff to the next level because there's only so much you can do in terms of growing on your own, and she knows that. Like it's, it has to be a collaborative. It has to be um, the best way to advance your knowledge is through collaboration and experimentation and things like that. So she goes to the market and ends up picking up a bunch of stuff, but the two things that stand out are this cat with just an amazing face. It just has such an amazing face. The little eyes, it's all perfect. There's a little bit of fabric stitched over the eyes, so it's like an eyelid, and it just gives them a really nice shape. The whiskers are rooted in there, and they're like stiff, but not like too stiff. They're not like thread. They're not too soft. It's just like a really the legs are just terrible, but like you know you can work with that. Um, and the other thing that stands out to her is this dog that just has this terrible, terrible, terrible face. Um, just like the features to her look like they were placed on upside down, still in the right positions for a face, but each individual feature upside down. Um, but then she tries, unstitching them and correcting them, and it still doesn't look right. And she's not really sure, honestly, what the problem is there. But the tail wags, it keeps perfect time. It's like a fucking metronome. Um, but it's just like it's silent. It just like looks. It's so realistic. It's no one's ever seen anything like it. But the face, wow. Um, so, so
We
this is
get it. It's a
how
bad face.
so this is how Devi becomes aware of Mello and Caraway,
we should
and sort of yeah. Sorry, what?
we should do pronouns as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, I
I read
interrupted
it.
you. Carry on.
No,
We can
Ali
write them
Ali put
down.
the correct ones on for Debbie. Debbie is she her.
I'm gonna say Mellow is also she, her.
I'm gonna say
Duncan
Caraway
is
is also she, her.
okay.
Yeah.
And Duncan was he him?
I think so.
Uh,
A little,
Loyal Duncan.
a little urchin lad.
I thought that's what you said before. So if we want to do something else now, we can. Right.
I also just want to shout out that Annie, Dancino on Twitter, has already, Annie has already gotten to business. Let me bring these up because it's incredible. Are you sure you want to leave for YouTube? Yes. So here we have Loyal Duncan and Stacey Lane. Um, and we have I've put this in the Discord as well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And we have Ransom the horse, who is, you know,
Ransom looks great. That's incredible.
that's a strong gaze, I would say.
That's very good. Damn.
The most powerful horse.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Sorry, Janine. Back to
No,
you.
it's good. Is there anything else I need to hit on here?
Not really. I guess you've described like going to see toys so you can make it to the list. I don't know if you want to like involve the department store in this, but I think we.
Uh, yeah, I think the scene I'm mostly narrating here is like that stuff isn't like that's stuff that's established she's aware of, but this
Yep.
moment is like her at her sort of work table, like pulling apart these two toys that she thinks are kind of the pick of the litter and being like, okay, I wanna understand their work.
Ooh, okay. Perfect. So that is the prologue. Then we are going to move on to the first player's turn, which is going to be you, Jack. Um,
Hmm.
Oh, you're still in here. I locked you in. Okay, hold on. In any given turn, the two players narrate how their characters pursue their goals, and one player creates opposition for the others. Suitor turn. Each turn takes place. each each suitor takes turn in taking an active part courting the beloved. I'm so sorry. Just give me like 1 second. In suitor turns, the active suitor teams up the beloved to participate in the scene and potentially gain points towards winning the game. Ba, ba, ba. So, a sort of tune begins in free play, in which focuses on the interaction between the active player, which is Caraway, and the beloved, which is Dobby. Dobby? Dobby? Dobby?
Dovey. Dobby.
Dobby, Dobby. Like the bird, Dobby, right?
Dovey. Yeah.
Uh,
It's like a pet name. It's a pet name that she goes by.
right.
Dobby. All
Dovey.
this work. All this work for nothing.
Oh.
During this phase, talk about what your characters say, see, do, describe your characters and their surroundings, and interact with one another as if you were characters, which, you know. And then, so it says that the beloved should set the scene and that the active suitor suggests locations and things like that, but like, we do this a lot, so. Jack, if you want to set the scene and then Janine can involve herself however she'd like, that's fine. I'm gonna open the door for this cat.
Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Do you have a particular location in mind? Like, do you know where you would sort of hunt me down to be like, who made this
I
dang
think it'd be one of those
cat?
things where Dovey like asks around the market, like, "Hey, where can I find Caraway right
Mm.
now? Like, where she usually hang out? I want to talk to her."
And I think Caraway has, gotten up this morning, and it's really cold. And she lives in like a little, I guess, an apartment building on the side of this mountain. And she's gotten up in the morning and wrapped her scarf around her, and you know, gone down, and there's like breath in the air, and like ruddy cheeks because it's cold, and she's gone into the Glacier Express and ordered a huge mug of coffee, and a apple and cinnamon strudel, and is just kind of sitting down, and like I think we see her, and she's writing in her journal. She's just like, cold morning today. Um, what else do you write when it's cold? Cold morning today. Nearly slipped on the ice. Past Loyal on the way here. Hoping it's going to be a clear day with not a lot of snow. Eating a nice strudel.
Um, yeah, I think like this is the point that Dovey sort of like walks in on. And probably I would say like recognizes Caraway from the market, right? Like Caraway would be selling her own stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or is that what Loyal Duncan's for?
No, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I don't know whether or not Duncan in my arrangement is a professional one. I do not know whether or not a flaw about Caraway Sticklepath is employment of an urchin. um,
Does Duncan have like a wonderful singing voice and is just like that kid from Sweeney Todd who sings about the pies?
oh yeah, Duncan absolutely has a wonderful singing voice, and is that kid who
And he
sings.
sings about cats?
No, I don't just make cats. I mean, we can have this conversation. And
Fair.
yeah, I think Caraway just like looks up at the sound of the like little bell in the coffee shop, and sees Dovey there.
I think Dovey is carrying a stuffed cat that has been pulled apart. Not with malice, like it has not been pulled apart with malice, but it's like the what's the like least disturbing way for that to be pulled apart? Um, I think maybe it's been like unstitched along the seams, um, and hasn't been fully restitched. Like it's
Mm.
mostly been restitched, but there's like a gap where it's open because she like just restuffed it like on her way out the door because she realized she was on her way out the door with like a stuffed cat skin, and was like, "Oh, this is kind of hostile." So she like last minute kind of like jammed the stuffing back in and then like ran off to try and catch Caraway. Um, I think she like puts it on the table like, "This is you made this, right?"
Oh, hi. Uh, yeah, this is one of mine. Did it break?
No, I actually did this. It's fine. I can. It's fine. Um, Hi, I'm Debbie Blewett.
Hi.
I run the toy. We didn't name the toy shop. We
Oh
named
God.
everything but the toy. We named the powerful horse before we named the toy shop.
Is it called like Dove's Wings? Something we named the powerful horse before we named the toy shop.
Maybe
We
it's just
didn't
called like Little Blewitts or something. I don't know.
little, excuse me?
Little Blewitts. No, it doesn't work, does it?
Oh,
I, Blewett means blueberry in French. I should clarify that it's not. I
okay.
didn't intend it as a. It's fine. Um,
Little Bluets is fine.
it could be anything.
Okay.
It could be anything in the world.
That's the problem,
Um,
isn't it? It could be anything in the world.
It could be anything. It could be literally anything. Um,
it could be called anything. Like actually, it could be called Penny Anything's toy store. It
Oh,
could be
okay. No,
anything.
we did it. We.
Penny anything? It's like a
Oh, the thing is, Penny Anything is a great name for a character, and I worry that if we name a toy
We
store
don't want to
Penny
waste it.
Anything,
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fair.
Also it implies that everything in the store is a penny and it isn't. It's like
no,
a
that
whole
is absolutely
Yeah,
conversation.
true.
a bunch of stuff
Um,
would be a penny, but
well,
it'd be penny many things.
Pen-
well,
Penny Many
penny
Things is the
many
name of a
things.
mouse nursemaid.
Penny Many Things is such a good name for the store, though. I don't want to distract from
God,
that.
Penny Many
we can,
Things?
we can. Here's the thing: we can call it that, and also, if someday we really want to have a character named that, it's just a fun throwback that
Yeah,
everyone
I'm
thinks is
coming
cute.
around
You know, we
real.
can have it both ways.
I'm coming around real hard on Penny Many Things. Is Penny like the woman's name, and then many hyphen things? Is there no hyphen? How's this spelled, Janine?
I think it's probably like yeah, penny like the currency or like the name, and many hyphen things.
Okay. With the hyphen.
Yeah, I love a hyphen.
I know that about you. I'm sorry. I know that about you.
Penny Many Things.
Okay. There we go. So now we know it's there.
Where's it to? Where did you put it?
It's on top of where it says aspiring toy makers. Beloved owns a fancy toy shop. Penny Many
Oh,
Things.
down
I'm just gonna
Perfect.
write toy
down there.
shop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on the beloved character card too.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
I made a blue dot instead.
I love roll 20.
That's a penny.
just a blue dot. Um. Oh, hi. Yeah, I know who you are. You run Penny Many Things, right? It's Dovey.
It's Dovey, yeah. Um,
Hi.
Hi. So did you hear? It's kind of awkward. I don't like to air my business, but you know that we named the department store was the department Mag-
Oh my god.
I don't normally think maybe we went too hard with the names, but this time I feel
Yeah, I
like
was
maybe we
thinking,
went too hard with the
are we about to be undone?
names. We had to learn our lesson eventually. So McGuddins is. I need to say it with a straight face. McGuddins is opening up a toy department, and my and this is like her audibly pausing before saying like partner, um, decided to go work for them and help them build their toy section, um, and that I've been having a really hard. I don't work well without I like having a collaborator, um, and I'm having a real hard time uh, finding people who I think would be a good fit. Um, and I just wanted to say hi, I guess. Um, because I
Hi.
really liked your cat.
Oh, thank you. The legs aren't the right length.
That's okay.
Like Caraway is just like completely trying hard to like play it cool and like visibly failing. I think she's blushing and she's just like, "Wow, it's busy in here today." Well, I suppose if you want to talk about business, um, I mean, take a seat. They can bring you some strudel. There's servers like walking around with trays. The tables are like little round tables packed closely together and like holiday decorations hanging from the ceiling. You've got a moment to sit and talk, right?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it'd be weird if I came here and didn't.
Right.
If I just came here to show you this cat that I
You
unserved.
killed it. Um.
Oh,
Okay. Me? You want to work with me?
I mean, maybe I don't really know you, you know, like and I don't want to just like have someone. I thought I knew my partner, and that didn't really work out great. Um, so I guess actually by that logic, working with a stranger isn't really that much of a risk, but I think it would still make me a little nervous. I just,
No.
you know.
Right. No. I understand. Um. What do you think you're gonna What do you think you're gonna get? The chocolate is like a little overrated, but the apple and cinnamon is my favorite and makes for a great breakfast. Um, they're doing something with like orange and clove that is supposed to be good, but I don't like it very much.
Oh, what are they doing with orange and clove?
It's like chunks of it's like candied orange. I don't know. I had it once and I didn't. It wasn't it wasn't for me, but it can be for you.
Mm,
You might like it.
maybe not for breakfast.
No, maybe
Mm-mm.
not for breakfast. No.
Clove is a very strong breakfast flavor. I'm not sure about
That's what
that.
I always think. Um, it's a very strong breakfast flavor. I make things other than cats. You know,
Yeah, I saw a bunch of stuff. I picked the cat because it had a nice face, but the other
the
stuff looked
legs
good too.
are like a little.
Yeah, but you can fix legs, or you could like make them laying down, and then it doesn't matter because the legs are like all, you know.
You could make them lying down. That's why you
Or you
run
could make
penny
them
many
sitting
things.
because then their legs are different lengths because that's how they sit.
Wow, wow. Well, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about here.
Jack, as you're saying that, Caraway, as you're saying that, you see out of the corner of your eye that the train is coming around. And you're still thinking about what you want, and you feel like you had a really good understanding of the menu. You even pitched it to this beautiful person who's come up to you and offered you your dream job. But there's like a dessert that you can't tell what it is. And it like looks like it's made out of berries, but you're like, you don't know what kind of berries. And also that's like not super seasonal, but what if it is? What if it's like amazing? And you are very easily distracted by
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Dovey, this is a new sorry, and I call over like a server. Excuse me.
Okay. So I don't know this is how this game is supposed to work, but I have now introduced a hurdle. So at this point of the game, the scene pauses, and I get 5 dice just for
Showing up.
introducing it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna take my dice,
Okay.
and then you guys get 3 responses, and if you
3 responses
okay,
each.
three responses total.
Total. Okay.
Total. So you can see kind of at the bottom the
Oh
where it says
yeah.
3 player suitor turns hurdle 5 dice. So you get 2 dice if you use one of your own traits to get over this hurdle. I don't want to speak for you, but like you could as you're speaking to the person or whatever, you could use one of your traits in some way to, impress whatever. And then you would get 2 dice for that. If Janine did one, used one of her own traits, you would get 2 dice. And then the third one, you either get to pick, like, I have a really good idea. I'm going to use my second trait in this way. Then you would get 1 dice. Or you can suggest something for another player, and then you would get 2 in that case.
We don't have traits yet, right?
So
We
it's weird. You could use your attributes, and then you get more traits at the end.
okay.
They're like used interchangeably and not interchangeably in the
That's really
rules, and
weird.
I am just
That
going to, like, this
that's
is the first
confusing.
turn. Yeah, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's so weird. I think the thing that's really confusing about it in the rules that, like, is more clear, I think, is that it feels like when you're using them, it feels like you're burning them because that's what we're used to in games, but you only burn them during the beloved turn. Everything that we have right now, we keep, and the things that you're going to gain from these scenes, you're going to keep until you later in the game decide, I'm not this thing anymore, I'm a different thing.
Right.
Mm,
So that's kind
okay.
of how they're used. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And Janine is like trying to help me overcome this hurdle, right? Like responses that Janine is suggesting are how Dovey would sort of help.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Unless Janine had a great suggestion for how
Oh,
you would use it, and
and
then
could
she was
also.
yeah.
Mm.
What's going to happen here is that at the end of this, depending on the pool of dice that we have, we're going to roll them, and then we're going to see who wins the scene. So if I win, neither of you get points towards your goal, and also I get to assign a trait to Caraway.
Mm.
If y'all win, I think that you get to. It doesn't say on these tiny mechanics, does it?
Let me
Maybe it doesn't.
let
No, it's
me.
fine. I got it. Um, there's like a second pool. It's like a whole thing. But okay, if y'all win, you each gain a new trait that you decide. You each get a point, and then you narrate the outcome of the scene. If I win, nobody gets any points. I narrate the end of the scene, and then I also give a trait to you, Jack. And if you
Mm-hmm.
decide, if y'all decide I don't want to lose the scene, I want to do what's called a second pull. I will explain that what that is when it comes to that part of this.
Okay.
But if that happens, I get to do a different. I get to also give Janine a bad trait, I believe. But
Okay. Okay.
this is the first time we're doing it, so it's going to be super confusing, and then we're going to
Mm-hmm.
know how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um. Yeah. Okay. So option one is I use my trait thoughtful, and when the uh server comes over, I impress Dovey by being just like really charming and like I know this person. I come here often. There, I have an awareness of the menu even when a new thing shows up. And I'm just like, my hope is that Dovey will come away from it being like, oh wow, she had a really nice interaction with this person, and that's impressive.
that works. You were assigned your 2 dice.
Thank you.
Um, I'm going to use patient. Um, because there is that sort of momentary diversion, but I don't think it's enough for Devi to like think like I'm not being taken seriously or something like someone who's
Mm.
really uh quick to irritate would. Like it's not a thing where she takes it personally. It's like, oh, this person seems really enthusiastic about desserts. Like it's fine.
Perfect.
I don't mind. I'm here to try new stuff.
Yeah. One more response. Anyone's game.
Hmm.
Do I like maybe suggest that we split one or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, that would get us
Does
one
that
dice, right?
qualify? Because like, oh, trying a new thing is a little like um intimidating, but like, I'll eat half, you eat half. Maybe it'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
It's cute. It would also
Okay.
solve your breakfast problem.
Yeah.
Do you Do you feel like that's using one of your traits, Janine?
Um, I thought that was like suggest action for other character,
Okay,
but
that works. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm totally fine with us using the rules that way. So you have 6 dice. I have 5. We are going to roll them and see who has the most sixes. The number doesn't matter, just how many sixes there are.
Okay, I'm gonna roll mine.
Random side. Okay, so you win the scene. You have two
Hey.
sixes. I only have one. So we don't have to worry about a second pool, which is great because that is the most confusing part of the system. um, but yeah, so if the active suitor and the beloved win, y'all get to narrate the rest of the scene. You each get 1 point toward your goal, and then you each get a new trait that you choose.
Okay. Um, Allie, can you be a waitress?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi. Oh, hi, Jenny.
Oh, Caraway, hi.
I just thought I'd pop in for breakfast. Have you met Dovey?
I haven't. Hi, hello.
Dovey
Hi.
runs Penny Many Things. It's a really cool toy shop.
Oh, I love that. I was just there that week with my cousin.
Oh, really? What did you get him?
Um, we got a. It's a little metal horse that you wind up.
Oh,
It's
wow.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it.
I'm
You hit
glad
that,
to hear
Dovey?
that.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm curious about what's this one here? Is that like a cherry? Like a kind of a chopped cherry?
It is that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So what it is that it's like I was I was about to just say fermented cherries out loud, and I don't know that that's a thing. But it's a magical land. So yeah,
Hmm.
this is like a fermented cherry that's soaked overnight in like a blackberry juice. So it's like a little tart, a little sweet, a little sour because I guess it's fermented, but it's also in like a pastry. It's like amazing. It's like very, it has depth in a way that you don't think of desserts. We're very excited to have it as part of our holiday collection because it's very decadent.
Is it the holiday collection time already?
Yeah, I can't believe it. We still have pumpkin juice
I love
in
pumpkin
the
juice.
back
You know, I
room.
didn't think I would when you put it on the menu. I thought, Debbie, it sounds really bad. I don't mean to be rude. Pumpkin juice, that doesn't sound great. But then I tried some pumpkin juice and it's really good. Do you want to split one of these with me? Because I don't know if like I love fermented things, but cherries I'm not so sure on. So like we could.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
cherries.
we can. Okay, yeah. Okay, we'll get one of
Yeah.
these, please.
Wonderful. I'll bring 2 spoons.
Th-
Anything else?
um, no, I'm good. I think I'm good.
Okay, well, I'll be right back.
All right, see you,
I
Jenny.
had been picturing this as like a Danish, and then you said spoon.
Yeah, I was just like, I
It's
think
like, man, that's a big, honestly, big center Danish that you need spoons for sounds great also.
actually, I think Caraway leans over to Debbie and it's like, it's like, yeah, they keep giving me spoons. I don't know. Maybe it's like a, you'd think like one of those forks with like a little knife on the side, but it's just spoons. This is a great place, but like, and I don't want to say anything.
I mean, it must be working for them in so- some way.
It's kind of difficult to eat, but the strudels are so good that I don't really want to. I don't really want to complain.
I mean, you would be surprised what some people like do for eat. Our number one selling thing at the toy store. You're never gonna guess what it is.
What
It's like
what is it?
so it's not everyone's like, oh, the dog. It's not the dog. It's those little little discs, those little painted discs. We don't even sell them with string, but people just snap them up. It's just you just there's a bunch of different stuff. One of them we got like one of them is like a horse on one side, and on the other side there's a rider, and then one of them there's like one of those automobiles without the top, and then on the other side there's like a lady with a scarf.
Wow.
Um, and there's like a bird one. The bird one is boring. Everyone has a bird one.
Caraway has just like leaned forward on her, like resting her elbow on the table and her chin on her on her fist, and is like kind of like doing that thing where you're like very obviously listening to someone and like nodding her head and being like, "Yeah, keep talking about toys. This is like, this is this is this is the owner of many things."
Many penny things also works though is the thing.
Strangely, that waitress's name was Jenny Many Pennies. Uh,
Yeah, I
um.
didn't say my cousin works at the store.
Oh right, yeah. Oh, you're back. This looks amazing.
Here's your spoons.
Oh, like
So
Caraway just
much.
like flashes Dovey a look. Um. Okay, so I'm gonna take the trait. Do I get to decide the trait, or does
Yeah,
Dovey?
this is all you.
Okay. I'm gonna take the trait. Um. And these traits could be like really broad, really weirdly
Like
broad, like
super
newer
broad.
person. Okay, so I think the trait that I'm gonna pick, and I'll write this down so you don't have to write everything down, is shared a lovely breakfast. And I think the camera kind of comes out a little, and we get the view through the window of this like frosty window of this little strudel shop, the people inside eating the strudels, and we get like that classic romantic comedy shot of like Caraway and Dovey talking, but we can't hear what they're saying, and we're just like seeing them have this little conversation. The camera pulls away through this little alpine town, and the scene ends.
Hmm.
These traits are
Beautiful.
very much like Sims traits, aren't they?
They really are, aren't
They
they?
It
can
can
be
be
so.
anything from like happy to like just worked out of a hot person. Like,
Broke a bath.
It's weird. Like I kind of feel like it's like almost building an inventory for your character in terms of like
Yeah, that's
what
really
this
cool.
game thinks of
yeah.
things as.
Um, you also take a point, right?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
do take a
both
Do
of
we
you
point.
each
get a
take a
point.
point? Okay.
Yep.
Do I
Okay.
also need to come up with a trait, or does Jack come up with a trait?
You come up with your own trait.
Okay.
Shit. That's not right. Okay.
Janine's single line of Jack's
the
So,
the extra large brush fits very nicely in it.
okay.
That's also
Like a little
not
dot.
That's also not it.
I did. Okay, how do I? Okay, here we go. Do I just? Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right, I got it. There.
Wonderful. Um, Perfect. Okay, so now it's my scene. Okay.
I'm taking tried a new dessert as a trait.
Ooh,
Ooh,
okay.
you were really
Oh.
leaning into the Sims stuff, huh?
Yes. Now that I've identified it, yes.
Oh, it's kind of like, oh, you tried a new dessert, so you're feeling happy today, or like, I
Yeah.
watched a movie, so I'm horny now. I love The Sims.
Oh, The Sims is so good.
This is great. Um, okay. Janine, do you want to set up the scene? Because I can do that, and then you can kind of come in either way.
Whichever. It depends on I think it would probably be the same setup as with Caraway of just like where does Mello hang out? Where do I find Mello right now?
Yeah.
Um,
I was thinking of setting up the scene in Penny Many Things.
mm,
Um, like Mela doesn't know that you bought her, horrible dog toy. Improving by the day, dog toy. And she's just like looking over the displays of animals that you have and like very carefully like looking at them, like running her fingers over the stitches, like in a very respectful way, but like clearly a lot of affection for these toys and also like an understanding of like toy makeup. Um,
I think that maybe Devi like was looking for Mello, but like everyone was just like, I don't know where she is. So she like heads back to the shop, and she's a little bit like, she's a little dejected. She's like checking the. We never really settled on a time here, so I'm just gonna say she has a chatelaine with a little pocket watch on it because I think those things are cute and I like putting them on characters. So she's like checking her little pocket watch. Like I don't okay, I still have time. There's still time today, and then just like Mello is in her shop, and like oh that's a wonderful little coincidence. So she walks up very like very happy, very ebullient, um, like oh you're Mello Aster. I've been looking for you.
Oh, hi. Yeah, that's me. And you are.
I'm Dovey Blewett. I own the shop.
Oh my goodness. I was just admiring your dog toys. They're beautiful. Just
Thank you.
the industry's finest.
I mean the face is good. The rest of it I think is industry standard, but the face is that's where the money's made.
You're telling me.
I
I
like your tail mechanisms that the face isn't important if you've got something else and you've got those tails and they really wag.
It means a lot to hear you say that. Thank you so much. I they were very hard to figure out. But just a little bit of what am I trying to say? You just put a little bit of carbonated water in there. That's actually the trick. Um,
What?
it's a magical environment. I don't know. The
Okay.
effervescence makes the tail
Mm,
wag. I don't
that
know. It's
makes
magic. I
sense.
don't care.
And then the effervesces. That's I was wondering how they managed to run so quietly. Because
Yes,
like
yes, yeah,
clockwork is so loud and steam. You wouldn't want steam in a stuffed animal. That would be very
yeah. I
dangerous.
I really went through I tried Clockwork, and you were right. It was so loud. It was like a
Hmm.
you know.
And there's no charm in having a big key sticking out of something's butt. It just ruins the fantasy of like having this nice little dog.
Yeah, I don't walk down the street and see dogs with a big wind-up tool coming out of them. It's just it breaks the fantasy of having a nice dog that's
Hmm.
happy and wagging their tail.
Yeah.
Um, my goodness, I never thought that the owner of Penny Many Things would buy one of my toys. That means a lot that you would say that.
Well, I have been looking for people I might want to work with, and part of that is I need to see who in town is doing interesting things, like things that are surprising. I like when I see something that I don't immediately understand, that I don't immediately know how to duplicate. It's like it's kind of exciting.
My goodness, well, I should have just told you my secret then. Um, there's
I
a
mean,
lot
you
that
told
goes
me
into
how
it
it
too.
worked, but you didn't tell me how you made it. That's
This is true. This is true. You're gonna have to find that out later.
is that a challenge?
Well, I would be very interested to work for you. I obviously it's Penny Many Things.
I'm still, I don't know for sure that I'm going to take anyone on. I don't know, I just
Oh my
want to
goodness, no, no, no. Gosh, just I mean, just being able to talk to such a not only established but just ingenious toy maker such as yourself is such an honor.
I mean, and also I know we joked a bit about that. I'm not going to steal about the tail thing. It's
Oh,
it's okay. You told me I'm not going to try and reverse engineer that. I was just curious, like personally curious
oh
for
my
me.
goodness. I let me put it this way. I would not have said that out loud at I was going to say McGubbins, which it isn't. McGoddins? Is that how we're doing that?
McGuttons.
And I think at that moment
It's just the best.
there's a
Sorry.
knock on the window. And the door to Penny Many Things. Actually, what does the inside of Penny Many Things look like, Janine?
Uh, I cannot not imagine it as that Sephora store.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
I imagine it's like very brightly lit. There are a lot of shelves that are sort of up along the walls. I think it's different than a modern toy store in that like there aren't, it's not like a efficient use of shelf and floor space. It's not like a bunch of H-shaped shelf configurations that box everything in. Everything is sort of on these shelves along the walls, and then the middle space is sort of open for like, there are some toys out of the boxes, and I don't know there would even be boxes, but whatever. There's some toys that are like out where kids can like run around and like experience them properly versus just like picking them up and standing in one place.
It's like toy
Um,
areas, little play areas.
yeah, and just like space for kids to run around without having to run into shelves or without parents losing sight of them. Like it's designed in a way that is like completely sacrifices efficiency in favor of like the human experience.
Uh, yeah, and there's the shop bell rings, and into the shop comes a tall man wearing a winter coat over a black suit with like a little black tie. And he comes over to both of you, and he says, "Hello, my name is Mr. Click. You might have heard of me. I'm the manager in charge of McGuddens. It's very nice to make your acquaintance."
Hello.
Good to
Now,
see you.
I couldn't help but notice you're Mellow Aster, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Hi.
Yes. Well, I had a look at that dog that you made. That was you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And
There is a dog that I make.
that tail just goes. It just goes left and right, left and right, left and right until the world would end. You know. Beautiful little construction. Anyway, none of our clocks in the store, the store, none of our clocks are striking on time. And we've got a little opening for someone who can, who's methodical enough to make something like that, work well, and work, effectively. So he is making a challenge. He will hire you, if you want, or he is essentially being like, hey, yeah, come work in my gardens. We want our clocks to run on time.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm gonna give you your 5 dice.
Thank you.
That's six, and I'm gonna take one away. Oh wait, yeah. Um, and I'm going to first respond very impatiently and say, I'm a toy designer. I don't work with clocks.
Oh well, there's always room, isn't there, to branch out, move outside our area of expertise. I was an accountant, before they made me run a toy store.
Quite the career change. Janine?
Uh, hmm. I wonder if like Dovey has a like clockwork consultant that she works with sometimes for like fiddlier mechanisms.
I love to have a
I'm wondering.
clockwork consultant.
uh yeah, so I wonder if well, I don't know if she'd volunteer them either. I was trying to think of like, oh, maybe she would like put someone's name forward, but also then she would maybe risk losing that person. And also, if Mello's actually interested in this opportunity, she would feel bad about like stamping it out just to be like, well, maybe I'll hire you. I don't know. um,
Yeah, I mean, there's two things here, which is like, I think Mello is obviously like genuinely annoyed, and
mhm.
that's readable. And then the other thing is like, you should think of um Devi's like opportunity and obstacles and everything. Like, this can be an opportunity if you want to say, I have this trait and I want to undermine this person in some way because my character also has a feeling about this guy. That's also an opportunity. You don't have to feel like it's just to help me in the scene.
Mm, um, then she should definitely do something to fuck with this fucking McGuddens guy. Um, hmm. How do you fuck with a McGuddens guy?
um, I mean, you can use one of your traits here. I'm fine with loosening these rules if you just also want to pull something that we know about the setting or like just make up a character. If you want to like make up a fake name that you know makes horrible clocks and you want to tell him that name instead, that's, that's also a version of this that works. Um,
Uh, what are some other? No, that's silly. Okay. Um, I think okay, yeah. I think then the thing that Devi does when she notices that Mello is kind of like, um, I guess this would maybe pull on her being attentive, because she would notice that Mello is annoyed, and would kind of want to mitigate that annoyance, by ending the encounter. I think the thing that she says to this person is like the thing you suggested was like, "Oh, I actually know a clockmaker. They do repairs, as well. They do all my clocks. Their name is uh yeah, it's the first thing I saw, so I'm just gonna go with it. Auto Candy.
Good. Glad.
Oh, Mr. Candy. Yes, yes, I recognise the name. I recognise the name. Quite the professional. And now we just all roll?
So me and Janine have one more turn that we can make.
Oh, damn. Okay, yeah, right.
So yeah, either we suggest something for ourselves or suggest something for the other person. Um, I think my suggestion is that you can use your good under pressure trait to like very casually kind of like get this person out of your store or like even
Mm,
further distract him by being like, oh, you can look at my clocks over here to kind of get them away from us.
yeah, I wonder if actually there is like one of those outdoor uh clocks, like it's sort of attached to the shop, but it's like an exterior facing thing for people in the street to use. I wonder if it's one of those things that is like indirectly it's part of the building, so it's not like really hers, but it's her responsibility because it's like more attached to her shop than anyone else's. Um, so I wonder if she says like, "Oh, hey, there's a ladder in the alley. You can get the ladder and take a look at the clock if you want to see Otto's work." Um, I should clarify and say that clock is not Otto's work, but this guy does not need to know that. He just needs to climb up a ladder and get the hell out of the shop.
Oh, I
Uh,
don't do ladders.
It's a step ladder.
I don't do them. I don't do ladders. It's something about the height.
Okay, well, maybe can you pay one of the pay like honest William or like gentle Buck or
you're
any
doing
of the
great.
odd job boys. So I got them for you.
Oh, it's
Just
us,
a
the Odd
second.
Job Boys.
Let me add odd job boys to the setting list.
Ah, yes, the Odd Job Boys. Yes, well, I'll keep it in mind.
Okay, now we're gonna roll to see who actually wins the scene to see if you actually leave or not. So I'm gonna take care of my dice. Jack, you've got yours.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, you beat me. No, I'm
oh
so sad. Okay,
boy.
so
Um. Okay, so
Give me 1 second, because I have to scroll up in this.
oh god, because we have to do another a
We don't
second
have to. It's
pool.
optional. I just want to explain it so we know that it's an option. We don't have to do it.
Mm.
I am fine deciding that this rule doesn't exist, but it's cool. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, So, if the opponent wins, no one receives any points toward their goal at this time. Active suitor, the active suitor and the beloved gain traits declared by the opponent. Whatever the outcome, keep the first pool of dice showing the results for the next phase. The active suitor and the beloved may choose to continue to try to overcome the hurdle by rolling more dice again during the second pool, regardless of whether or not we do this. Jack, you still have to give us traits.
Okay.
Or at least, regardless of whether or not I do this, you give me a trait, but not Janine.
Okay.
Um, the second pool. It's gonna be fine. If the active player and the beloved player lose after rolling their first pool, they get a second chance. They can earn more dice through narration involving their character element, but this also opens the door to suggestions by the opponent. The opponent. Things get down and dirty here. So Jack, this is kind of in a way to explain it that where we get Jack, what you are essentially going to do is offer a devil's bargain where you can
Mm.
say, okay, you get a chance to win again, but you have to take this suggestion that I'm making that you don't want to happen. um you would assign essentially a second bad trait to me. And if
Regardless of
I
whether or not you take it.
Well, I can. If the active player rejects the an opponent's suggestion, they can still gain extra dice. However, the active players must create a complication for themselves. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah. So because I lost, regardless, you were going to give me a trait. Um, and then if I choose to take these extra 4 dice, I take 4 dice if I take your suggestion as to what my second trait should be, or I can think of one for myself, and then I only get 3 dice.
Okay.
So,
Hmm. Okay. So
okay.
shall I start by giving you a trait?
Yeah, let's just make it easy so I can determine if I'm like, okay, I'll take that. That's fine.
Okay. I think the first trait that I want to give is headhunted.
Okay, perfect.
Interesting.
And do you have a suggestion for a second trait that you want to give me?
Oh, this is my devil's bargain.
Yeah. So you can say
Hmm.
I can either just walk away and be like, okay. Oh, so I think what it is that you make the suggestion. I can either say no, I just want to lose. I'm good. Um, no, I don't want to do that, but I have a suggestion of my own, or just take your suggestion.
Okay. And if you win this second round, do you end up taking the one that I'm about to suggest?
That's a great question. Hold on, and I'm gonna find out the answer to it in a second. Roll the dice for the second pool. The active players roll these additional 3 or 4 dice, earn accepting the opponent's suggestion or making the trade. So I do have to accept it, yes. But if I do end up winning, I think I still get the point. But I've taken these things, and then if I do end up winning, I also get to make my own positive trait
Okay.
because those happen no matter what.
Okay. Okay. Hmm.
We did it.
Sure. Sure. Okay. So the other trait that I am going to Hmm. The other trait that I am going to suggest is furious.
Oh. The response to like the scene being interrupted and knowing that this person is
Well, it's like you've met your crush, and then just this like absolute weirdo comes in and is like, "Come fix all my clocks," and you're like, "Oh, okay, okay."
And not only that, but they were like, come fix my clogs and also take this person that I'm talking to outside so she can go show you her fake clock or whatever.
Yeah.
Um Hmm. I'm trying to think if I have. I guess I don't have a thing, but that makes sense. So I might as well try to roll it so I can maybe choose something for myself that's good and also gain control over the scene again,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
essentially. So I am going to take 4 dice. And what I'm doing is just adding these. We're not re-rolling things. I'm just adding these. And if I have, super not gonna get this. But if I have 2 6s in these 4 dice, then I will be good, and I will have beaten you. Um, but I just realized that that's probably not gonna happen. So we're fine. Okay,
It's
wait.
fine.
No. Okay, wait. So we each have 1 6, and then we decide. Then we see how many fives that we have because there's no ties, and I have 3 5s and you have
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
I've
Hey.
taken control of my destiny once more. And that's how the system works, and that makes sense now that okay, perfect, good, great. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take. Okay, so I'm just gonna finish narrating the scene, which is I am like so annoyed by this. Um, and I see you like go outside and like, see you argue with this person who's like pointing up at the clock and then like pointing at a ladder, and then like I see you just being like, just go find one of the Oddjob boys, and the guy like putting his hands on his hips. Um, and when you when Debbie comes back into the shop, I'm like I'm definitely like really annoyed, but I'm like that's definitely the most impressive way I've seen to kick someone out. Um
Normally I have Sniffly Daniel in here to do that kind of thing, but he's got the day off, so you make do.
hire someone to get rid of annoying customers. That is the exchange for the seltzer tip.
Well,
Um
again, Sniffly Daniel, it's his day off.
fair, fair. I
He's sick.
I'm sorry. I just have to go cool down. I'm just gonna take a walk. Clocks. Clocks. I'm not a clockmaker. Do I look like a clockmaker to you?
No,
It's ridiculous that he would come in here and ask me if I wanted to make clocks. What is that?
I mean clocks are neat. Um, no, you're right. You're right to be upset.
I think that
I
end
think I
scene.
think Debbie like takes the pocket watch in her shadow lane and like tucks it into an actual pocket, so it's not just hanging there. Like, oh, Mela doesn't like clocks. Okay.
That's fine. That's great. You've seen me angry in like the first time that you've ever met me, so that's not great. Um, but also that was like a fucked up thing.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now we still won, so I get a point, you get a point. And then
Do we both still take traits, or did you
yeah,
already take your trait?
no, no, I now make a trait for myself that I like and want to have.
Okay.
Um, which I believe is why the system is balanced this way. And if it isn't, I've made up my own hack for shooting the moon. But no, this is the right way, and I, it does make sense because it's worth it to trade the extra like wound essentially to take control of the scene.
Yeah.
Um, so
I went with relieved for my trait because Dovey is relieved that Mello didn't immediately just ditch her for the fucking department store. Um, even though she had no business to really be like, hey, could you not take that job? Uh, it's just a relief that it worked out.
yeah, I'm going to write what is the word that I want because I can't spell it. Getting like notary That's not how you pronounce that. I'm just gonna write getting attention from town. Is that the same as headhunted? That's not the same. Because headhunted is like somebody wants me for this job, but
Mm,
like making a name for yourself is a different thing.
right.
How do you pronounce
Mm, yeah.
notary? But that's a person who
Notary. A notary is like a person who
Notoriety?
like.
notoriety.
There you go.
It's
I
close to
don't think you need
notary.
to take a. I don't think you need a certificate for that one.
Right. Uh-huh. But it's basically like, you know, it's good that my name is,
Yeah.
around town.
Yeah.
People know me as a good inventor. Um,
Yeah.
they're gonna forget the horrible dog face and start remembering me for the genius I am. Uh, okay, now we are up to the beloved turn. And Janine, give me a second to tell you what you're doing.
Please, by all means, yes.
So in this turn, you become the opponent for both of us. You
Ooh.
create a hurdle for both of us at once, and we, in that case, have to defend ourselves against you. We each get separate dice pools, and we have different ways to pick that up. But at the beginning of the turn, the beloved player creates the hurdle, a challenging situation for both suitors. In doing so, you set the level for the hurdle. So the way that the levels work is that you can have a level one is the suit we just face like a normal challenge. You have 5 dice and you gain 1 point if you win. Level two is the suitors are threatened. And then you get 7 dice and you get 2 points. And then level three is all of us are threatened in some way. You get 9 dice and you also get 3 points. So it's like very gamey risk reward here. Um,
Mhm.
like if you put yourself under the knife, you could really get closer to being on that top 10 list. Um, and then because we're toy makers, we can kind of cut the line between threatened and challenged.
Yeah. Do I lose points if I lose stuff, or is it only a game?
Let me. I don't think you ever lose points. I just scrolled way down on this PDF.
And also, does it need to be a hurdle that affects both of you, or is it a separate hurdle for each of you?
Um, you're making a hurdle that affects both of us.
Okay.
What you so there is something in the rules that's like if you want people to roll separately, you can, and if you want to like make 2 different hurdles for us, you can absolutely do that. If the rules say that you can, I don't
I think
care.
I have a good calculate on
um,
this.
I'm just gonna get back to the page that I was on to just make sure that there's not anything else big that I'm not explaining to you, but I don't think that there is.
Who
Um,
frames this scene?
Janine does.
Okay, and
Janine
then
is making the
introduces a hurdle.
hurdle. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Level three, we all face danger, yada yada yada. Okay, so level one must present some challenge to the suitors. And level two, both suitors face some danger, personal, emotional, professional, etc. So, and then level three is all of us, and then so after that, me and you, Jack, we each get 3 responses each, and I'm just gonna give you this big.
Oh, it's like a menu, in it.
It's also a menu. There's like a smaller version of the menu on our thing, but I'm going to give you the full size one right now. And I'm just going to read it for the audience, which is we get 2 dice if we involve a trait of our own character or the beloved. We get 3 dice if we use our own trait and then also add a complicating a complicating trait. So, like, I would have taken Headhunted or whatever if Janine had made that scene for me. And I would have gotten an extra dice to do that. Um, you also get 3 dice if you suggest something for another player, like another complication that is, and then you also get 3 dice if you flirt with the beloved. You get 4 dice if you um. Oh, that's conflict. We don't have conflict.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
conflict.
You also get 4 dice if you something goes wrong for the active player and the complicating trait that they gain. Oh, so I would get 4 dice if I was like, "Hey Jack, you tell me what my complication is."
Hmm.
Um, I can still reject that if you make that complication, but I can get 4 dice if you say something and I say that I want to do it. And then we get 5 dice if you want to say, "Hey, I am getting rid of this trait or attribute completely, and I'm going to replace it with something that substantially changes my character." Um, so that's how we are, and we get to choose 3 of those each time.
So we're gonna throw like a
So
million dice, right?
a bunch. I don't know that if I've put enough dice here. I think
I
that I
do not
have.
think there are.
I don't.
Unless we each take turns, then it would
We
be
can do that.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna double check what the results of this are. Ba-ba-bum. Resolving the beloved turns. After 3 responses, each. Um, Once the winner has been determined, that player gains points and adds traits to all of the characters. So I guess we get. So depending on the level, we still get those points totals either way. It's not
Mm.
just you. Um, because it doesn't seem like. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay.
So I've got 9 dice here
Okay.
Oh
because
God.
I'm going to threaten suitors and beloved.
Oh,
Um,
right
because
out the gate.
because my idea that I had, there was no reason I could think of that would only affect. At least there's no fun reason why it would only affect the suitors and not the beloved, since they're all in the same business. There has been a terrible accident at the Velvet Factory.
Oh no. Not the
It
velvet.
it's not so much that the accident has caused a shortage of velvet. There was still a lot of velvet made and it wasn't destroyed per se, but it was cursed. Um, and it's cursed in such a way where people know it was cursed, but they don't know what the curse actually is. So most people who use velvet for certain sensitive kinds of work, like making things for children, are not going to be using velvet for a little while.
It's like a product
Mm.
recall, but because of a curse.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just like, okay, you have to use cotton and corduroy and a bunch of garbage fabric. It's Christmas time and no one is getting a Velveteen Rabbit
Oh my
unless it's
god.
cursed.
And this is a scene with both Mello and Caraway in. Like, do we frame a scene with us two in, or are we sort of like independently reacting to this on our own?
It's tough because we can do that. Um,
It kind of makes sense to have this be like news that arrives
right.
like
Yeah,
if everyone was gathered together and heard about it, they wouldn't be in a position to do anything at that moment. So the thing that makes more sense is, how do people deal with the news after the fact?
right. We can make these like all one scene, all of us together. Or like we can, as we do the responses, I think what we can do is set up the scenes depending on if we want to like be like, oh, I'm also in the scene and this is how I
Yeah, yeah,
take
yeah.
this hurdle or whatever else. Because one of the ways that we gain dice is through flirting with Dovey. So like there would have to be a situation that we're
Hmm.
describing where
Yeah.
we're in a room with Dovey. I think the reason it's not specific is so we have those options. Like if you want to describe a scene where you're doing a thing and then I said, I want to deal with the velvet my own way, I have that option.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
Yeah. I just want to make sure we
um,
have an opportunity to get both of us on screen at the same time in the same place.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, you go first response. Unless Janine, you want to say like this is the scene right now. Jack, you can set up a scene right now, and then I can either add to it or decide on a different one.
Hmm. Okay.
While you do
Hmm.
that, I'm gonna.
Hmm. This is tricky. Let me think. Oh man, we have a lot of dice. Where?
I'm just making as many as we can because we're gonna need a
Uh,
bunch for this.
if we want a scene with if we want like a premise for all three characters to both be after the news, like in the stage of things where they could be planning, but also in the same scene together. I wonder if there's something to like maybe like Dovey and Caraway being in the Glacier Express and they're like sitting in a window seat or something and Mello sees them and is like, "Oh my god, this velvet thing. Let's talk
Oh
about this."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or just like a general it could be like a general sort of
Mhm.
shopkeepers meeting, like with seamstresses and furniture makers and like
I have some
everyone
terrible
up in
news.
arms. Yeah.
My friends, thank you for coming today. Settle down, settle down.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
I know the snow has been falling heavily, and I'm afraid I have some bad news from the Marchmont Velvet Mill. Sorry,
Marshmallow.
from the Marchmont Velvet Press.
Velvet press.
Well, you know the witch who lives up round those parts.
The Witch of Velvet Mountain.
I think they must have angered her somehow because all the velvet's cursed. And
Rabble, 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 rabble,
I
rabble.
cursed, I say, cursed. Settle down, settle down. Uh, now I know that some of you may not be so worried because obviously Muduggan's has its own separate velvet supplier and curse protection. But I'm afraid that I have to tell you that per the curse accords of 1648, we will be unable to work with the velvet for the very near future. Meeting adjourned.
What are we gonna do? Um,
Rabble, 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 rabble.
just imagining like the Phoenix Attorney like audience. Um, all right, it's time to involve some of these traits. So Jack, technically you go first.
Okay.
Um,
Um. This is a problem, right, Debbie?
This is a very big problem. This is a huge problem. This is velvet's so soft.
I. Yeah. Yeah. Velvet is so soft. Um. Surely
this
we
is
can.
the. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, no, go ahead.
This is really the velvet season. Like if it was
It
summertime
is.
and we were using silk instead, it would be something. But
In every industry too. Everyone wants velvet cloaks and they want velvet animals for their kids and they want velvet booties for their babies. Everyone wants velvet, velvet, velvet. If we have no velvet,
Sorry, I don't think we've met. Debbie, could you introduce us?
oh, of course. This is Mallow Aster. She's the one who does the waggy tail dogs.
Oh.
nice to
And
meet you.
Mello, this is Caraway Sticklepath. She does those really amazing the cats with the really amazing faces. You both do other things too. These are just bullet points.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm sorry that we have to meet, during a Velvet Crisis meeting.
Yeah, I've seen those cats. They're incredible. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you. I like your dog's tails.
Thank you. I'm furious, so I think that I gave a very terse smile because I know
Yeah,
that is a backhanded compliment.
just
Because
such
you
a
should just like
backhanded
the dogs.
compliment. The tails are really
Dogs as a
good.
whole.
It's a
Oh god.
back-ended compliment, even.
A what?
A back-ended compliment. It's
Oh
fine.
my
We can
god.
move on.
No, it's good. It's a great joke. It's a great joke. Um,
Um. Okay. So. Um. hmm. Oh, I've got an idea.
okay.
Um. Dovey, don't you have that stockpile of velvet back when the last time this happened? I thought I saw it in the back. Dovey's been kind enough to take me into the back room and show me around the backstage of Penny Many Things. It's spectacular back there. And I couldn't help but notice that she had this like a little collection of velvet, and I'm sure that maybe we could. maybe it's too much for me to suggest, but maybe we could, you know, offer some of that velvet out to other customers who might need it. I'm sure Mello could use some. Um, and I know that there's that woman in the market who makes the booties, and I'm sure she could use some too.
That's true.
I I wouldn't want to take any of your your velvet for your precious items, but
No, no,
I
of course not. No, of course
we're
not.
all we're all in hot water here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can. I don't know. There's, there's not enough to give to the upholsterers and to the clothers, and it's really just enough to make a few hundred dogs and bears and things like that. But I think we could distribute it at least among the toy makers a little bit.
This situation, I was cursed as a child. Um,
Oh my goodness.
Whoa.
My aunt was cursed as a child.
yeah,
Did you
it's
did you live in the
um
Marchmont Mountains?
I traveled there as a kid. I would spend
Oh, I've
summers
always
there.
wanted to go,
So
but it's a shame about the curses.
right, yeah, curses, people talk a big game about curses, but it's very livable. I
Are
think if
you curse
we
immune now? Is that how that works?
it depends on the curse.
I
You
used to
know,
hear my mother would talk about if one of the kids in the neighborhood ever got cursed, that she'd send me over to their house so I could get cursed too and then get it out of my system when I was really
No,
young
that doesn't work.
and
No,
like
no.
flexible.
No,
No, it
I've heard
doesn't.
that. No, that doesn't work.
well, the 15th of every night and the first blue moon of the year, I have to drink rose oil. But otherwise, I just live my life fine.
What
And
what what happens if you don't? I'm sorry, maybe this is too much. You don't have to say
it's
it's.
personal. It's very personal.
Oh, I'm
But
sorry.
it's not as bad as you would think it would be. Anyway, what I'm getting to here is that like we could just. I'm not saying that we should give people cursed products, obviously, but I just think that if we were able to learn a little bit more about what this curse is and be able to have that information to pass to our customers, it wouldn't be as much of a scandal, right? We could, it's information that we should have as shop owners and inventors, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I've given myself 3 dice for adding cursed to my traits.
Damn, that's incredible. I've given myself two dice for appealing to the beloved's generosity.
hmm
I do need to give myself two
Oh, I
dice.
did it.
Oh,
You're good.
thanks.
You're good. Yeah. Um, so we're
Uh,
each one hurdle down. So now you can create a new.
oh, a new suggestion.
hmm
Um, okay. Uh, say, Mello,
hmm
you've you've met the Oddjob boys, right?
Oh my God, who hasn't? They're just around town and
Do you know Loyal?
loyal. Is that the one with the flat cap?
He's got like I'm just looking at the art. Yes, it is.
I
It
do
is the
remember.
one with the flat cap. Yes, he wears this. I got that a cap for him actually a couple of years ago. Um, I'm glad that you remembered it. Um, Dun-
Oh, you bought him that hat? My goodness. It's a
Duncan,
great hat.
thanks. Um, well, I mean, I don't. It's his hat. What was I saying? I was thinking about his hat, and then I was thinking about. Okay, so Duncan, I mean Loyal, he has connections with the Oddjob boys, and I'm sure the Oddjob boys could find, if not more velvet, maybe they could find a counter witch. Um, I don't know.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh, what's his name? I think they have. What's his? It's on
Do
the
they
tip of
have
my
a
tongue.
counter witch on staff?
Uh,
On staff.
I. uh,
Let's pause because I love the idea of the Odd Boys being an actual company and not just a group of weird kids, and for them to have like, how malls have like auntie ons like pretzel stands, and it's like just a front facing, like here's a counter with some pretzels. Or like how they have like cupcake dispensers. It's like as if it was a hole in the wall, but it's just like there should be a store there, but instead there's a desk and it says the Odd Job Boys, and there's an awning and there's a kid there, and they'll assign you a kid to do a thing that they need to
Oh,
do.
it's
It's
so
the gig
good.
economy, just magical.
It's so good. And there's like snow falling, and they got these little lanterns, and they're like running around trying to find a fucking witch. Yeah, no, what was his name?
I think it's Hex Linus, Hex or Linus, Hexed Linus.
Hexed Linus?
I'm not. It's one of those. I
H-E-X
don't see him
apostrophe
around
T?
very often.
No.
Maybe
Well,
I've never seen it written down.
I'm sure Duncan might, you know, might, you know, be able to go and fetch him, perhaps. Or find a
Yeah.
large amount of velvet. I don't know. So I'm giving myself 2 dice for evoking the Oddjob Boys.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm coughing.
No, you're fine. Do you want to take a break after this?
I think once we finished a round, yeah, just take like a little break.
Okay. Okay, cool. Um, I it is too soon to be crossing anything off. I'm going to
I don't know that
friend of
it's
mine,
too soon to cross things off. I think you could do it if you wanted to.
Because we can give
friend of
ourselves
mine,
more.
friend of mine just texted me with the extremely timely suggestion that Jim and Pam is driving me nuts because she's currently watching The Office and I have to clothesline. Um, that's so funny. I oh okay. I'm gonna yeah, the Aja Boys. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think that you should go out with them and try to find that counter witch. And I'm creating complication for you, Jack, which is busy because you are going to be researching this counter witch.
Oh, wow. Janine, do you approve of that?
Yeah,
Hmm.
that makes sense. Odd Job Boys are not easy. That's the thing. Odd Job Boys, they don't have a stand at the mall. They are all over the place. It's like trying to. They're like feral. They're not like feral cats. That's mean. But they're just like all over the place, and it's like you can only probably find them when you aren't specifically looking for one, and then they just are all over the place. When you're
Right.
specifically looking, it's just like I can't find any cats anywhere in this neighborhood. It sucks.
From my cat hunt. Um. Okay, Ali, I would like you to suggest for me something goes wrong for the active character or a complicating trait they gain.
Okay.
Oh, and you should also write down my new trait, which is like
Yes.
busy.
Busy finding counter witch. Oh, what other complication am I gonna give you? Something that goes wrong for the active player and complicating and a new trait. Suitors require. Oh, I. This is rude to bring up here, but we are all business owners, and it is what it is. I think that the fees that counter witches charge are very premium, especially this time of year. People are always asking for things to be blessed and for holiday spells. Are you sure that you're going to be able to get this together?
Oh. Uh, and like Caraway like glances at Dovey.
I don't know what I'm suggesting. I think that I'm like, am I suggesting that you would have to pay for this witch? That's so weird. I don't know why that was. I just keep going back to this witch.
I mean,
But
at
yeah, I think
least she would have to front the cash, right? Like you don't get an odd job boy on like an IOU.
Right.
yeah,
You
I'm
front
writing
some cash,
hollow.
and then the Velvet Users Association or whatever the hell pays you
Holiday
back, but you still have
premium.
to front that. Still
Oh,
got to get that odd job boy's deposit down,
and like
and they do credit checks.
all the color just like drains from Caraway's face because she knows that she has not been able to sell enough uneven cats necessarily to cover the cost of a witch, and she's just like, oh, right, yes, of course. I mean, I'll have to consider it. I'm gonna take 4 dice.
Okay. Okay, so this is my last opportunity to get dice for myself. Um, and I think that I am going to.
Sounds like you got an odd job boy back there.
Yeah, there's an odd job boy. One of the odd job boys has arrived.
I think that I'm going to. I'm going to pull my observant trait here. And what's the next thing I'm going to say in the scene? I'm really into this counter witch idea. Um, I I think that the way that I, especially to appeal myself in front of Duffy, and being like, the one thing that they didn't mention is like what type of velvet is being cursed. Is it everything? Is it the entire supply line, or is it quarter inch thick? Is it you know matte matte? Is it
Matt Velvet is also an amazing character name that we need to use at some point.
Please,
God,
all
Matt
of these
Velvet,
down.
so good.
Um,
Very bluff.
because w- there's so many dogs that you can make with matte velvet if it's not um if that's not cursed. And I think she's just kind of going through the line, like pulling, like, oh, there are these. I know about velvet, and I could speak to it in this conversation to figure out if there's a way around this that we can make other toys, right? Use a fabric at a different thickness. And that was a two, right? That was two. Okay, so I get two more, and then we are gonna roll to see what the results are, and then we're gonna check to see what we do.
Oh
Once we get
boy.
the results in.
Like what this is now.
Okay,
Okay.
All right, random side. Roll
random
them up.
side.
I
So I
got
have
one
one
six,
six.
so all you have to do, all anyone has to do is beat 1 6, right?
Oh my god, we're all tied with
Wow.
6, which means we go to fives.
I have 1 5 also.
I have two fives.
I have 2 5s.
Oh, um,
Then do we go down to
you know what?
fours?
I think that we go back to fours. I'm just double checking that me
I
and
think
you can't tie. Um, look for the
I feel
higher.
like maybe wouldn't it make I don't know. Sorry, you go.
Look for the highest die. What was it? If two or more players use the same. Okay, so we go down to four. Um,
I think that's Jack then.
so Jack wins. Okay, perfect.
Wait, doesn't it say in the playing the game bit? It says if tie, beloved gives traits, then re-roll winning dice. I don't understand that. We can just.
What?
I'm just happy to win, honestly. just, I'm not gonna.
Beloved player gives
I'm
traits
not
and
gonna talk
both
myself out of a victory.
player.
After the three responses, each player will pile the dice in front of them, forming their person. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, that's only for suitor turn, so that's like a thing we haven't done.
Okay, yeah. So if two or more players have rolled the same value, use the same process as the suitor turns, compare the next die until the winner is determined. All ties are broken and beloved turns players cannot tie. Once the winner has been determined, that player gains points and adds traits to all of the characters.
Oh
Um,
damn!
Number of points gained is number two. Number of points gained is equal to the points offered at the reward for the level. Fill in this many circles in the character's goal sheets.
Is that 3?
Um, it was like, was it three? I thought it was like a bunch.
It's like level 1, level 2, and level
Oh
3,
yes,
right?
yeah, okay. It's 3 points, but
Yeah.
9 dice. Okay. Da. Base the traits added on the event of play. They may reflect the hurdle or some action taken by the character and some facet of their personality that was highlighted. If appropriate, the same trait might be applied to all three characters. So we're all dealing with this velvet thing. If you wanted to just say the trait that we all gain is low on velvet, you could do that, but you can also kind of zoom in more there because you've now taken control of the scene essentially.
Okay, so the trait I nearly said treat. Uh, the trait that Janine gets is uh, short on components. Um, the lend players, the lend customers, spare velvet plan worked well, but Dovey is generous, and occasionally people will come in and will be like, "I need a little bit of velvet, and I need like a spring," and so Dovey would be like, "Okay, here's a bit of spring or whatever."
Yeah.
And so you don't. It's not like you're scarce, but like you are essentially acting as like a sort of semi warehouse for other manufacturers, not just toy manufacturers, but other manufacturers nearby. Nobody wants to go to Madagan's. Um, Mellow, you are going to gain the trait. Um, hmm. You are going to gain the trait. Guilty. Because first you suggested that Caraway should just go and find a counter witch, rather than being like, "I'll go and find a counter witch." And then you were like, "You can pay for it, right?" And noticed visibly that that she couldn't. And then rather than saying, "I'll help with the counter witch," you were just kind of like, "Oh, okay. Time for me to go get some like a Brandy Alexander at the landslide."
I'm
Um,
furious and observant, and
that is true.
you walked up to me at a party and was like, "Hey, I've been in your crush's back room, and I love your dog butts."
Please, this is not a
Yeah.
party. This is an important velvet meeting that I, the mayor, have called in the town hall. So you're like, I don't know if you're like, this isn't. It's so weird coming to this game, coming after playing like Dungeon World, where like if you got a tag of guilty in Dungeon World, my character would be like racked with guilt. But I think it's more like you were just like, you're like getting dressed in the morning and you're like, damn, I just sent her off to like hunt a witch. That was kind of shitty. And I am going to gain the trait determined.
Oh,
Because I'm
sure.
like, I'm gonna get that cash. I'm gonna find that cash. Sorry, I've been saying witch, and that's not right. This is a counter witch, and that's a very different
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna gain the trait determined. Is that round one?
That's round one.
Look at
That's the
this like
whole
little
thing.
family of dice that we have here.
That was
They
wait, was
were-
that the first turn of round two?
s-
No, that was
Or
the
yeah,
last turn of round
one of
one.
round.
yeah, it goes suitor one, suitor two,
Oh.
beloved, and then it just keeps
Okay.
going like
Okay.
that. Yeah,
Okay. Sorry.
you're
Sorry.
technically the last turn. Yeah.
All right.
Um, we have a couple of options here. We've been doing this since 6:30 and it's 10 o'clock, so we can take a break here if anyone would like. There's also an option to make this game shorter if you want, and instead of doing 3 rounds, we can just do two and just do one more round and then wrap this up. Um,
I love this world, and I don't want to say goodbye to it that fast. Like in the last turn, the idea of like a series of cursed mountains ar- arrived. The Oddjob Boys became an entire organization, and we went off to look for a counter witch. Like I don't want to rob ourselves like another turn. Um,
okay,
if
fair.
you all are fine with
I
it.
think we also have a pretty good understanding of this game at this point that if
Yeah.
like in a couple of weeks we just wanted to jump back into it, we could easily do
Yeah,
that.
100%. I
Um,
super agree.
yeah.
Um, so do you think we should, call it, take a break, as in call it tonight at this point, or I'm trying to think because it's like 10 to 3 now.
Yeah, I'm mostly asking you as someone who is sick and experiencing 3 a.m. I could probably do one more round tonight, but I think that we're gonna get like a clear. It's gonna be an even split if we have this last scene, set it up as the hunt for the counter witch, and then come back ready to go. Um,
Yeah. I feel like I really want to do this justice, and while I feel like I could do another round now, I don't know that I could in like 20 minutes or something.
mhm.
Um, so part of me is like, we know where we are in this story. We've set up that we're gonna hunt a counter witch. Hunt is a very violent term here. I
Yeah,
don't.
I was gonna say I don't know that hunting is
Fine,
what we're.
fine. Spy. We're gonna spy a counter witch. Um, and also this is a live, right? So we'll just be able to like listen through to the episode to recap anything we need to,
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
as well. So if you two are okay with it, like, I would love to keep playing, but I'm worried that I would not be able to do this place justice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
by
I
all
think
means.
also, we did like the character creation stuff today. It's always going to take up a disproportionate amount of time compared to the actual
Hmm.
game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh,
absolutely.
I think it makes sense to come back and do the last two turns, and that would be an even kind of
Yeah,
split.
totally.
Yeah.
That feels
To
like,
do them justice, yeah.
yeah, because if we did another turn now, then we'd have this weird sort of smaller thing. Um, yeah, I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do it this way. I'm happy to do it this way.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, again, it's we've been doing this for like 3.5 hours, which is the exact length or much shorter than an episode of Friends at the Table should be. Um, so on that note, this has been Live at the Table. We have been playing.
We didn't do a clap.
Oh, we did.
If we do one at the end, does it still work for you, Ali? Can you just like
It does
line
still
the?
work for me.
It's just.
Here's here's a secret about claps is that I usually use the last one, so
Oh,
Oh,
fine.
damn.
oh, damn.
You just
Okay.
make
Yeah.
us do two so you have more clapcast material. I see how it is.
Well,
Oh, I hadn't
so
thought of that. That's good.
Clever.
I need to know where the first one is so I could just be like, okay, everything before this I'm just gonna chop off, put in my clapcast folder. And then the second one is like it's easier to scroll to the end of a file and be like, okay, this is where these match up, and then I'll fix it from there. So
Mhm.
an
Oh,
editing trick from me to you.
I've just had a great idea as well. If we,
Oh?
if we stop here and come back soon, I can have some music for the last two parts of this game.
Ooh.
Okay. Sure.
Um.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Should we do outros and then clap? What order do we do this in?
We do outros first. So this has been Shooting the Moon by Emily Careboss. This is found in the Romance trilogy. It's the second of those games. It's a great game. I just bought it online. I have the PDF. It's super good. Go find it. Um, the other thing that I want to mention about these systems specifically is that like there's also a ton of really good hacks for these systems themselves in the book. So like for Shooting the Moon
Yeah.
specifically, there's like one where you can use the same basic mechanics, but you can be like on a cliff, like trying to beat the snow, like
Oh
hiking and
wow.
stuff. Um, the first one where it's like, hey, let's sit down and play these two people going on dates and see if they like each other. There's like a reverse of that where you can be like, let's just play Mr. and Mrs. Smith, where it's like these two people in love. How are we destroying their relationship?
Cool.
So there's yeah, all of these games are super hackable and also have really good suggestions for how to hack them in the book. So I definitely recommend it if you think this is cool and you think that it sounds neat. I definitely did. I think we had a really good
Yeah,
time with
this has
it.
been one of my favorite things we've done in ages.
Good. I don't know when we're going to be back with this. We have a bunch of Patreon stuff that we're doing. Oh, I was going to do the thing that I wanted to do, which is go to libsyn.com and post tonight's Chiron episode live on air.
Oh wow.
um, so also you've just had this amazing experience, and now you can go listen to some more of the show. Congratulations! And I'm gonna do it the right way this time. It's not gonna be a little baby file that's only 2 minutes like it was last time.
Is this us
Um,
arriving in the place, Ali?
it sure is.
Wowee, wowee, a brand new place for listeners in Hiron.
love, I love this episode. Libsyn's going to take a little bit to publish that, but you're going to find that in a second. You can find that at friendsatthetable.net. You can find me over at Ali_West on twitter.com. And you can find Friends at the Table over at friends_table at twitter.com. I was about to plug the website again, which I did not need to do. It's friends_table on twitter.com. I've been joined by Jack DeKeat.
Hi, I'm Jack. You can find me on Twitter at NotQuiteReal and buy any of the music featured on the show at notquitereal.bandcamp.com, except music that has appeared on live episodes, such as the Marielda theme from the live episodes, the Fall of Magic stuff, the Lysosome Feeling stuff, and the various cues that we use elsewhere. That will be online at some point. That's part of the plan, but not quite yet.
Yeah, that's coming super soon. That's coming super, super soon. And then I was also joined by Janine Hawkins.
I'm Janine Hawkins. You can find me at Bleating Heart on Twitter.
Okay, perfect. And if you already know about this, if you're listening to this, probably, but we are also over at friendstable.cash where you can give us some bucks for all of the entertainment that we give you. I thought this was great, and I think that it's worth $5, and I
Yeah.
hope that you do too.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this with a friend, you can go support us there. You can see episode 2 over there. And please do that. And thank you, and good night.
Wait, clapping.
Oh,
Allie,
Allie, did you end the recording?
we gotta do the
no,
thing. That's the only reason people are still here. We gotta do the clap.
I also typed clap Dotties again.
We need
Which
to
is
Mm-mm.
just
just
register
gonna
that or something.
And just route it to the time.is.
okay.
Should we do
10 seconds.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah.
That seemed fine.
Yeah.
I heard
No
mine and then
complaints.
y'all's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Have a great
Good
night,
night.
everybody. We will see you
Bye.
soon.